Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good afternoon and welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. Over the next few days it is going to turn hot across a few spots across southern England, but it is going to still be a north-south split across the rest of the UK. Now that's all because we have that high pressure system out towards the southwest, and we do have these wavy frontal systems that are draped across the north of the UK. Now that is bringing some outbreaks of some rain and some blustery winds across western Scotland. Could see some outbreaks of rain across Northern Ireland and northern England too as we head through the overnight period. It does turn patchy and does turn drier for a time, but the best of the dry conditions are going to be across the south. It is going to be a mild night to come though, temperatures around the mid-teens, but not as muggy as what we saw last week, but a warm night to come nevertheless. But into Sunday it will be a mild start. It will be bright across the south. There is some patchy cloud across the southwest and a few bits of patchy cloud across central England and Wales as well, but we do have this another band of rain moving into western Scotland and northern England as well. Dry for a time across Aberdeenshire, and we do have some sunny skies across those northern Isles to begin the day, but this band of rain will just continually push its way eastwards and may just move a little bit further south on Sunday compared to Saturday as well. But across the south we will see some brighter skies. That cloud across the southwest will become a little bit more confined towards those coastal regions, and it will be another warm day to come, even hot in a few places. Mid-20s quite widely, even a 29 across the southeast. But again, under that cloud and rain, maybe just a little bit cooler around the mid-teens here. Now that rain, like I said, will push its way eastwards. Aberdeenshire now starting to see a few more outbreaks of rain as well. Could be heavy in a few spots, but as we head through the early part of next week, again, we still have that north-south split, but temperatures across the southeast getting up towards those low 30s.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
We're celebrating a golden summer with your chance to win a real gold bar. That's right, a fine gold bullion bar worth over £5,000 could be yours. We're also going to make sure your finances are fabulous with £60,000 in tax-free cash. For a chance to win, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Bold.
They are under no illusion.
Ray.
Are you a human trafficker?
Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get this on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now, they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it? Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
I've been in Westminster for a long time. But I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
All too often, people will be sitting at home watching a press conference live, and they'll hear loads of questions being asked, and they'll be thinking, that's not my question. That's not my concern.
We don't care whose feathers we ruffle. We ask the questions that you want answering.
You're all standing on the street protesting and want to have an open discussion.
My name's Patrick Christys. I do a show for GB News in the UK. Is it possible to talk to you quickly?
Journalism in this country has been a cosy world full of groupthink until now.
Well, this is the best view ever of Whitehall, looking out across all the tractor drivers of England who've come together to make their point.
Hello, so as you can see, I'm here in Westminster as the protest begins.
Yes, I'm very much in the thick of it.
Look, we're challenging narratives here at GB News, and that's what sets us apart.
It's Saturday night, and this is the Saturday 5, the UK's biggest Saturday night TV show. I'm Darren Grimes, along with Will Kingston, Emma Trimble, Trey Lowe and Pablo Ohana. Tonight on the show...
Andy Burnham's plan is a band-aid on a shotgun wound.
It's time to declare a state of national emergency over the migrant crisis.
Pakistan wants your pounds, but not to take back their own.
And Keir Starmer deserves a little more credit. Trump has ended the American experiment.
It's 6 p.m. and this is the Saturday 5. A very good evening, my friends. I've already been reprimanded by you in the comments for calling Emma Trimble Emma Webb. I was at the wedding, but I keep forgetting. Tonight, we may well have a thing or two to say about Keir Starmer's attempt to shore up some kind of legacy for himself. A man who ultimately made enough U-turns to end up in a political U-bend at breakneck speed. He was very quickly a problem that Britain wanted to collectively flush. But my friend, as Kai Wilshaw is off no doubt enjoying London Pride, safe from the exposure of the opinions of real Britain here on GB News, our Kai-adjacent replacement, Pablo, joins us as a one-time advisor to the Kamala Harris for President campaign. So I've absolutely no doubt, my friends, he'll have plenty to tell us on the topic of ending up in the political U-bend. And the Queen of Serene, the modern-day Boudica for Britain, Emma Trimble, joins us to bestow the gifts of common sense and calm and collected no-nonsense, because Dr. Renee is away somewhere rather more glamorous than London Pride. I don't picture her cuddled up on the beach in a trans flag. But, my friends, I can assure you that this panel is not dripping like flies. Trey Lowe is firmly perched like a parrot upon the political fence. He's got more spelks in his bottom than a joiner's thumb on a Friday afternoon. And still firmly off the fence, everyone's favourite forthright, firm and stood to attention, Willie Kingston, who, I wonder, may well be off to London Pride after this to give the unsuspecting crowds a performance on his didgeridoo. Of course, my friends, your view is more important than ours, so please do get in touch throughout the hour. Whatever's rattling around in your head, more important than us, gbnews.com/your say. We don't pre-approve your opinions like the BBC. So settle in, my friends, the panel's assembled, the fence is groaning under the weight of Trey, and Willie's didgeridoo is, for now at least, mercifully still in its case. Let's go.
Darren, thank you. The top stories this hour. The Duchess of Sussex and her 2 children won't be travelling to London with Prince Harry next week. It's understood no decision's been made on whether they'll join Harry for the rest of his 5-day trip to the UK. He's expected to attend a series of engagements linked to the Invictus Games and his charity. It's reported this decision comes after his family were denied taxpayer-funded police protection. England's World Cup knockout match against Mexico will kick off at the planned time despite proposals to bring the game forward. Officials considered moving the game from 1 a.m. on Monday to 7 p.m. on Sunday because of the threat of storms. FIFA, the FA and the Mexican Federation say they'll continue to monitor the weather during the course of the weekend. Meanwhile, pubs across the UK will be allowed to stay open later, and many schools are also allowing pupils to start late on Monday so they can watch the match in the early hours of the morning. Elsewhere, in his first interview since resigning as Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer has defended his legacy, saying he saved the Labour Party. After just 2 years in Number 10, Starmer said his likely successor, Andy Burnham, would have to spend just as much time on foreign diplomacy as he did. Speaking to the BBC, he also opened up about what he called the intensely personal decision to stand down.
When Vic and I were away with the kids, we went to Chequers and just spent 2 days together as a family. And that's when I came to my final decision. And it wasn't that I didn't want other advice at that stage. I'd had plenty of conversations. But when you are taking the decision to step down from the role as Prime Minister, taking the decision that your political career is over, it is an intensely personal matter, or at least it was for me.
Another heatwave is on the way, bringing highs of 34 degrees Celsius for parts of the UK. A week-long warning from health officials came into force at midday, with high temperatures causing a greater risk to life of vulnerable people. Yellow heat health alerts have been issued covering the Midlands and the south of England until next Saturday. Meanwhile, Southern Water and South East Water have both issued a hosepipe ban across Hampshire and Kent. US President Donald Trump has called on Americans to defend the country's founding values ahead of the 250th anniversary of US independence. Speaking at Mount Rushmore, he warned of what he described as a growing communist threat, saying some progressive Democrats hold ideas that oppose the American way of life. And Serena Williams' Wimbledon comeback is over after she withdrew from her doubles match. Williams and her sister Venus, given a wild card into the women's doubles, were due to play their first-round match tonight. But the 23-time Grand Slam singles champion suffered a knee injury during her singles comeback match against Maya Joins on Tuesday. Those are the latest GB News headlines for now. It's back to the Saturday 5.
Take the GB News family with you on any device. As long as you have an internet connection, tune into GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond.
Cheers, Tatiana. It's Saturday night and you're with the Saturday 5. Over the next 3 hours, the biggest debates, the hottest topics and entertaining interviews. Going to crack on with tonight's first topic and I'm going to kick us off. I note that every Labour politician commentating on Shabir Ahmed this week is doing it from a warm London studio, primarily a BBC one. Try doing it out there in the country, though. That's what I say to them, where we watch the asylum hotels or the HMOs fill up while Whitehall tells all of us that it cannot deport a child rapist that our own courts convicted. And here's how this looks from the front line, right? Not a BBC green room. The ringleader of the Rochdale grooming gang walked free on Thursday, 14 years into a 22-year sentence. A foreign national that we cannot remove from a country that won't take him back. But here's the bit, though, that ought to end careers. We actually tripled the aid to Pakistan last year to over 130 million quid, while we cut almost everyone else. We hand them more family visas than any nation on earth. And when we ask for one solitary thing in return, one rapist who ought to be their problem and not a threat to our women and girls, well, they laugh in your face. It's not an alliance, it's a dodgy direct debit. Pakistan has nuclear weapons. Britain's got the best part of 3 trillion quid of debt. We are borrowing money to bankroll a nuclear power that won't do us one single favour back. Work out who's mugging who here. Who is the mug in the room? And why can we not deport him? Well, it's a law written in 1971 to protect the Windrush generation, now serving as the force field around a man convicted of the very worst vestiges against Britain's daughters. They even stripped him of his British citizenship years ago, but it hasn't made the blindest bit of difference. You repeal the loophole. That's what politicians ought to be doing. One clause. Parliament is sovereign. They've got the power. You freeze every one of those 200,000 visas until Islamabad takes their own back. And you stop treating the European Convention like it's a holy text, because the human rights lawyers are already circling, growing fat, while our right to safety and security shrinks. None of that is impossible, as much as they might tell you. What is missing is the political bottle. And if you think Andy Burnham has that, well, I've got a bridge to sell you. Ministers know precisely what you should do with Shabir Ahmed and that aid check as well. That's exactly why they'll never ask you. And it's exactly why also that people feel utterly powerless, and they're right to, because a state that fears its own citizens more than it fears a child rapist has utterly forgotten who it is that they're serving or meant to serve. Give them their country back. That's all we ask.
Darren, you said there, and well said by the way, but you said there we have asked for the Pakistan to take these scumbags back. What I cannot for the life of me understand is why we don't tell them you will take these scumbags back. The lack of political courage is extraordinary. If you don't take back the scumbags that belong in your country, which is one of the worst countries on earth, by the way, the only thing they're better at us at is harbouring terrorists. Although, unfortunately, we are getting better on that score. If we don't take back your people, we will remove the aid. We will remove the support we provide with defence. We will start taxing remittances, which prop up your failing economy. But we don't do that because, for some reason, well, maybe, it may well just be that those Pakistani voters are becoming increasingly important for Labor. We just don't have the political courage to do it. I find it absolutely staggering.
I mean, Emma, you can see, can't you, when politicians in the House of Commons stand up and say, please, UK government, will you fund an airport in Pakistan? Yeah. You know, you can see the trajectory that we're on, and you can see why we aren't willing to actually be tough.
Yeah, I think the British public see this and they think, you know, this is a government and a parliament that serves everyone except the British people. I mean, when the political will is there, as it was in, you know, not criticising Keir Starmer for being willing to open pubs until 5 a.m. on this one occasion for the World Cup, but you can see when the political will is there over something as small as that, they can manage to get something done. Yep. All they have to do is change that 1971 legislation so that it doesn't apply to people who have been convicted of crimes, or convicted especially of serious crimes like rape, grooming, murder and that kind of thing. It's outrageous that they haven't done so already. And what they've done, actually, is just give Pakistan an opportunity to strip him of Pakistani citizenship, so then he's stateless and we can't deport him. I mean, as you've said, Darren, perfectly, I just think it's an absolute joke. We shouldn't be asking, we should be telling.
We should. Absolutely, I agree with both. Trey, are you happy for your pound and pence to go off to Pakistan after this?
Do you know, it's a rare time that I actually agree with every single one of you. It's very rare. I won't be doing this again. But I think you're absolutely right. I think when someone commits a crime that's this heinous, like whether it's against kids, old people, whatever, I think all of these rights should be stripped away, should be sent back. I think it's actually a disgrace. And thank God for Andy Burnham saying that he's going to fight for it, whether he does or he can't, I don't know. I mean, that 1971 law should just have this little caveat of all of your rights get stripped if you do something that horrendous against someone. In this case, we're talking about young girls. I completely agree with you guys. I may not agree with Will saying Pakistan's the worst country in the world necessarily in any way, shape or form, but in terms of this particular individual, he should be gone. And I think that would actually send a message to a lot of people who think they can just act with impunity, do whatever they want, and then some human rights lawyer is going to fight for them. No. I think all of your rights and privilege should be removed the minute you do a crime like this. I completely agree.
So, Pablo, the point is, you know, no one wants what happened to the Windrush generation who received letters basically saying, get out the country, you know, you've overstayed your welcome. By accident, it was an error, and they rectified that error and all the rest of it, and Theresa May spent a long time talking about it. But what we do want, though, is the ability to get rid of those who come here from foreign lands and commit the most heinous and hideous of crimes. So you do need to look at that 1971 Act, do you not?
I think you do, but I think you want to be careful you don't end up in another situation where you add in clauses, you amend things, and people end up in another situation where another exemption is being made or something has happened that someone has fallen foul as part of the law. So you need to be really clear about what you're amending, who it's going to affect. That is how we ended up with the crisis with the Windrush generation in the first place. I think in terms of age, you need to be very careful that we're not suddenly just applying this one, this one dreadful person. There is absolutely no question about that. But that is not all the people in that country. You cannot apply that to everybody. Pakistan is going through lots of crises, both natural and political. And as the United Kingdom, we should be supporting them. I don't think we can just take away everything because one person has done something absolutely terrible.
I've got a question on this, Pablo, because I keep hearing that we still need an asylum policy from leftists. And yet, whenever I ask to give me the cost-benefit analysis for an asylum policy, I never hear any benefits that outweigh the clear and obvious threats of crime, the obvious fact that most of these people are a net economic drain on the country. If you can give me the benefits and bonus marks if you don't just say, well, we've got international obligations or it's the right thing to do, tangible benefits, I really would love to hear them. Why do we need to take Pakistanis in?
Well, neither of those things are true. So immigration has a net benefit to the UK. They put in way more to our economy than they take out in anything like the NHS or benefits, immeasurably. But there is also an international obligation. That is also true, that the United Kingdom has built its reputation on being a country that has welcomed in those who are fleeing persecution for generations. It has got us to being the greatest country in the world, the most diverse country in the world, full of people who contribute to this country and make us have the best scientists, the best actors, the best musicians, the best country that there could be because we are diverse and because of those people.
I would love for you to sit down with the mother of Rhiannon Sky White and tell her, Siobhan White is her name, tell her that Britain is a country full of the best, the brightest and the best.
Darren,
you don't think we're full of the best and brightest?
I'll leave all of those wonderful Pakistani actors and scientists and engineers to one side for a second. Home Office came out and said only the other day that 75% of all people or asylum seekers who have been allowed to stay in this country on Article 8 grounds are unemployed. Now, the fact of the matter is there are some countries where the immigrants are net economic contributors, like Australians, for example, or Americans or Canadians. But the fact remains there are several countries, and Pakistan is one of them, where we know to a degree of statistical certainty that they are not economic contributors. You can make the argument maybe for some particular jobs and some particular countries, but we know that countries like Pakistan are a net drain on the economy.
Do you know what, Will? What gets me? Article 8 says it stipulates that you protect your right to respect for your private and family life. I just want to ask the question, Emma, what about the right to safety and security of the British people?
Well, quite. I think, the way that has been used is outrageous. I remember some time ago there was a case where I think a guy had been convicted of some kind of sexual offence, I think, against a child, and he'd been allowed to stay because of his right to a family life, because he had children here in the UK. That's arguing for the right of a paedophile, basically, to their family life here in the UK. It's obviously being twisted and used in the wrong way. And we often hear about, compassion for migrants, compassion for these people who are coming here illegally across the channel, but there's very rarely any talk of compassion for people here in this country who are bearing the brunt of this. You mentioned Siobhan White and what happened to Rhiannon White. I mentioned this when we get to my own topic later on, but we see this time and time again, the way that this is affecting the British public. There's no talk of our rights to safety, of the rights to safety of women and girls in particular, but not exclusively.
No.
And it's unjust and it's wrong.
It is, right. OK, now, the Home Office have responded. A Home Office spokesman said this: our thoughts are first and foremost with the victims of these appalling crimes. Ahmed's horrific crimes were at the heart of the grooming gang scandal that represents one of the darkest moments in our country's history. On his release, he will be on the sex offenders register for life, ordered to stay away from his victims and banned from contacting any child or young person. As well as facing strict curfews and restriction zones, his every movement will be tracked, forced to wear an electronic tag. Should he breach his conditions, he will be immediately locked up. Right. Coming up, Will, you're next. What have you got?
Yeah, Darren, Andy Burnham's whole diversion tactic is really just a completely ineffective strategy with a bit of northern schmaltz mixed in. It's starting to grate on me, and I'm going to deconstruct it after the break.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of the matter?
So that's a very live question.
Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account.
You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way. You will not want to miss it, trust me.
The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome to Free Speech Nation with me, Josh Howard. This is the show where each week we see what's happening in the world of culture, current affairs and politics.
First we'll say, welcome to the UK.
Oh, thank you. And we're not afraid to use our free speech so that you can use yours.
It's not controversial in the slightest to anyone who hasn't lost their mind.
Free Speech Nation, Sunday nights at 7 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Welcome back to the Saturday Five. This lot have all been taking the Michael out of me for saying twillion instead of trillion. I would like $1 twillion, please. Continue getting in touch at gbnews.com/yoursay. Please be nicer to me than this lot are. Now, it's time for our next debate. Everyone needs their Willie, don't they? Will, take it away.
Thank you, Darren. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to imagine a bloke who's just had his leg blown off by a shotgun, dragging himself into the doctor's surgery, and the doctor recommending a new facial moisturiser. Now, if I'd had my leg blown off by a shotgun and the choice was to be moisturised or unmoisturised, I'd probably prefer to be moisturised. But the fact remains, I don't think it is necessarily the nub of the issue, pun somewhat intended. And this brings me to Andy Burnham's grand plan, the only thing he seems willing to talk about, and that is devolution. Power to regional mayors, number 10 North. Now, make no mistake, this is not a policy. This is a method of government. A method of government, by the way, which has proven to be ineffective in Wales and Scotland and many other parts of the country in which it has been tried. It's only led to more corruption, to more people sucking at the teat of government and more bureaucracy. There's no reason to believe that that wouldn't be the case here. But even if you did believe in devolution as a principle of governance, it doesn't touch the only two issues that really matter in this country, and the only two issues that have mattered for the last decade, and that is immigration and the economy. Which is why I think what we're hearing from Burnham is a smokescreen. It's a smokescreen which he intends to flatter his eyelashes with, to wear that black T-shirt, and to hopefully try and hoodwink people all the way through to the next election. The reality is, despite it being monumentally difficult to turn this country around, actually working out what needs to be done is very straightforward. On immigration, reduce illegal immigration down to zero and dramatically reduce legal migrants and ensure that the ones that do come are net contributors to the economy and are coming from culturally compatible countries. On the economy, reduce spending, reduce taxes, reduce regulations, and then wait for growth to catch up, which it inevitably would if you do those things. That's a very simple plan, but we haven't heard any of that from Andy Burnham because he knows that institutionally Labor are unwilling to do those things. So what are we hearing about? Well, we're hearing all this northern schmaltz about the benefits of bringing power back to the north. This is not going to change the fundamental problems that this country faces. And to be perfectly honest, this is now political cowardice. It's political cowardice which is just all pulled together with a black T-shirt and fluttering eyelashes. I'm sick of it, and we need to start actually providing some accountability on this bloke, which the media, with the exception of GB News, is not doing.
His eyelashes do look like one of those blow-up dolls.
They look lovely eyelashes, but again, this is this is not what the country needs right now.
I'm only jealous, Emma. I'm only jealous. Pablo, you're from the northwest. You must be a Burnhamite, are you?
I actually am not his biggest fan, I have to concede. I actually agree that there has not been enough media scrutiny of Andy Burnham. He has been up in Manchester for a decade and has not had a sort of good enough grilling from the media, so I'm glad that he is getting it now. I will say, though, that I think something like a number 10 in the north is a great idea. We are the most centralised country in Europe, if not the world. We are absolutely obsessed with London, which is a great city, but I want to see that spread across the whole of the United Kingdom, not just spread in London.
OK, well, let's look then at the two examples in which we have devolved power, right? We've devolved power almost entirely to Scotland. We've devolved power to the Welsh Parliament, the Senate. And what has it done for them? Well, Scotland is an economic backwater. Its taxes sky high. It is crying out for, in an Aberdeen by-election that the Tories just won, crying out for England to actually implement some common sense in Scotland.
It's been good for local motorhome dealers.
Well,
Devolution's
been great on that score for that particular segment of the population.
How well has Westminster been working, do you think, for the last decade, let's just say?
Well, we're growing faster in England than they are in Scotland.
But how well do you think Westminster has been working for the last decade?
I don't think Westminster has been working.
So your argument there is that just because there have been some issues in Wales and Scotland, we just send everything back to Westminster, which has been what? How many prime ministers have we had in the last decade?
Where has devolution worked?
Devolution works in many countries across the world where we are not absolutely focused on London. The reason devolution doesn't work properly in this country is because we have devolved power in name. We have not actually given the money, given the resources, given the time, given the expertise to all of those areas that need it.
But again,
in countries where they do that, it
we
works.
did do that in Scotland. We did do that in Wales. And where has it gotten them?
But the reasoning doesn't work because when you look at other countries, I mean, there are lots of countries throughout Europe where London isn't, or like their capital city isn't like London. It isn't their only city. They have lots of other large cities. And so their country is decentralised in that sense. Their capital city is not the focal point of the entire economy. But they haven't achieved that through devolution.
No.
And as we've seen, devolution has had negative consequences. It's also tearing the country apart through nationalist movements and whatnot. So I just think, going back to the point about Andy Burnham, you know, people have made the joke time and time again that, you know, the classic Corbynite, a Brownite and a Blairite walks into a bar and the barman says, "Hey, Andy, how you doing? What would you like to drink?" No one knows what this man stands for. We know he stands for devolution and this sort of like vague concept of Manchesterism. We know that he's likely to raise taxes, even though he's somehow simultaneously attempting to stick to the manifesto commitments of not raising more taxes. But the point is that it's not really even that the media aren't scrutinising him enough. I think the media would be scrutinising him more if he wasn't literally running away from them.
Yeah,
do you know what?
Just quickly before you bury your trade, this is exactly my point. Whether or not devolution works, and I can see arguments, I disagree, I don't think it will, but I can see arguments for it, but this is beside the point. The point is that this is a distraction that's stopping us from talking about the actual things that need to change in this country, and he knows that, he is aware of that.
I disagree with some of this stuff, right? Because I think if you ask these people in these, devolved areas, would they want to go back to being...
Let's ask a Londoner, shall we?
No, but if you ask someone in Scotland or Wales, would they want to go back to being completely controlled by Westminster? They'll probably say no. So it's not that they'd want to abolish it. But I think people on the right are a little bit scared of Burnham because what he's actually doing is this red wall, these working class people who've been forgotten, not really spoken about, not really listened to, suddenly he's actually talking to them. And I think for some people on the right, it's probably a little bit frightening. I mean, considering the seat that he won was quite a natural reform seat, he still did very well in it.
Can I just say how patronising that is as a man from the northeast of England whose ancestors have been in the northeast of England mining coal there for hundreds of years, to tell me that the king of the north is coming on a white valiant steed to rescue us all, and we're still, you know, these chippy little oiks in the north who don't know what's good for them. But this man with his...
This is what I'm saying. That he's not. This is what I'm saying. Though he actually is an actual northerner. He's talking about it shouldn't all be about London. Let's look at some of the other regions that are equally important.
He's a northerner.
Let's talk to some of their issues.
To Cambridge, who ended up working for the Labour Party, who became an MP. The idea that he knows what it's like in life in pit villages these days is completely for the birds. He talks about HMO Britain. His Labour Party did that to...
But then you kind of can't win. If you've got someone that's super London-centric, you know, only cares about London, people have an issue with that. You actually have a northerner who's talking about shining a light on people in the north. But he didn't say that. When he gave his speech, he talked about everywhere, the southwest, the northeast. He talked about everywhere. But he's actually trying to shine a light on people who traditionally haven't been heard. I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. And to some of your points that you said, he already spoken about being strong on immigration. He's supporting what Shabana Mahmood's doing. So clearly, he's set his stall out. You know where he's going to go. He's going to be tough on a lot of these issues that people want him to be tough on.
Emma, when he was Manchester Mayor, all he ever spoke about was how great diversity is and all the rest of it. Now he's having to actually focus on migration as a serious issue that the country is waking up to, thanks be to God. Waking up to, and the impact that it's having on our nation, and he's having to take it seriously for the first time. We don't know this man's views on this issue from his, you know, his bottom from his elbow, basically.
I don't think he talks to or for the sort of white English working class in the, quote, red wall. I just going to say, come now, Darren, let's not make going to Cambridge be a disqualifying.
Exactly, that's a bit of class snobbery there.
But I do think that this idea of putting, you know, number 10 in the north, I don't think this is really about devolution. I think this is Andy Burnham basically wants to work from home. But it's not a good idea to be splitting your government up like this, because government needs to be done in person, face to face. You don't want to be wasting taxpayer money sending people up and down all the time. I mean, it's not the way to run a government efficiently. It's not the way to spend taxpayer money efficiently. And I think, Darren, you're absolutely right. This is not a man who is, you know, the king of the north, the self-appointed king of the north who's come to rescue the oiks, as you put it. This is, you know, he's a Labour guy who flips and flaps whichever way the wind is blowing.
Well, but see, you guys had this issue with Keir Starmer sort of not being principled. Here you've got a man with bold ideas trying to do something different. You've got issues about it. He just told you. Devolution, he's talking about still being tough. The guy that... Look, listen, this terrible guy that did these terrible crimes, even Andy Burnham is talking about he should be deported. He's actually saying stuff that you guys should be celebrating.
He is, because he can't
You should be celebrating this stuff. Give him a chance.
OK, we'll come back to that. In a moment, my friends, though, we'll be going live to Philadelphia, where our reporter, Doogie Beattie, is.
It's hot, hot, hot in Philadelphia. Many of the celebrations have been cancelled because of the weather, but to find out what it's like when you're going to go away for your holidays, here's the travel weather.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries, all sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
A lot of fine weather at the moment throughout Europe, especially through the Mediterranean, where it's going to be hot in Portugal during the next few days, and less wet for Greece compared with the last few days. Showers on Sunday tending to ease, but there will still be the odd shower or thunderstorm. Italy, widespread sunny skies, the breeze here easing after a blustery few days. But look at Lisbon, 39 Celsius. That's unusually hot for the time of year, and it continues into next week.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Good evening and welcome to a GB News weather update from the Met Office. It's still going to be a bit of a northwest split over the UK for the next couple of days, but as we go in towards Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, temperatures are going to turn a bit hotter in a few places. Now it's all down to this high pressure system we've got out towards the southwest, and we still have these wavy frontal systems across the north as well, but we do have a little bit of a ridge of high pressure building here. So although it was wet through the afternoon across western Scotland, it is turning a lot more patchier, especially across northern England as we go through the overnight period. Across the south, we do have some clearer skies, but another mild night to come. Temperatures around those mid-teens, so it will be a pretty mild start to a Sunday morning. And as we head through the second half of the weekend, it is going to be very similar to Saturday. We've still got some rain out towards the west, a little bit drier over towards the east. Orkney and Shetland seeing the best of the brightness first thing. Northern Ireland does see some showery rain across the north, and northern England may just be a little bit wetter than what they saw over the last couple of days. Some patchy cloud across the Midlands, but again, South Wales, southern England getting the best of the brightness for the start of Sunday. As we go through the day, this rain will slowly start to drift its way eastwards by the late morning and into the early afternoon. So it is turning increasingly wet once again across western Scotland. But this cloud across the Midlands and Wales, it will lift, it will start to break, and we will start to see some sunnier skies. So in that sunshine, it is going to feel like a pretty warm to even hot day. Highs of around 29 degrees in the far southeast. Now to start the new week, again, it is a very similar day to come. Brightness across the south. It may turn a little bit brighter across northern England by the afternoon. A lot of rain across the north as well. But over the next couple of days, still got that cloud in the north and sunshine in the south. But as we go through Monday, Tuesday, those temperatures into the 30s.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Breaking news, live updates, stories that matter.
From the heart of the GB Newsroom to every corner of Britain, with our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
GB News bulletins are there to deliver the latest news that matters to you.
Bulletins on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
As soon as it hits 11 and the headlines come in,
the Late Edition brings you the breaking news from all the front pages.
Because the news is going to happen.
So get a head start today.
Patrick Christie's Tonight, Late Edition.
Alex Armstrong Tonight, Late Edition. From 11 o'clock every night.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to the show. One of our viewers has just questioned whether or not Kai Wilshaw is a homosexual. And I have to wonder what show you've been watching all of this time, because I can confirm he is indeed. All right. I would have thought. Today marks the 250th anniversary of the United States and the 4th of July, of course. Well, they made the mistake they wanted to kill the king, Emma. Can you believe that? Kill the king. Never ends well. Well, organisers across the country are being forced to cancel events, close attractions and issue urgent health warnings as temperatures soar to dangerous levels. Well, a man, I'm not sure how he'll be faring actually, normally in Belfast, but GB News reporter Doogie Beattie joins us from Philadelphia. Doogie, are you hot, hot, hot?
I am so hot. It is unreal, and not in a good way. No homosexual comments, please. Yeah, every time there's dangerous weather, should it be rain, should it be thunderstorm, should it be anything else, I'm here. And it is so hot in Philadelphia, you're quite right. They've had to cancel quite a lot of events marking the 250th anniversary of America. And of course, there's not a city in America that is more important on the 4th of July right here in Philadelphia. This is where the original Declaration of Independence was signed on the 4th of July, but it didn't have 56 names on it. It only had 3 names. John Hancock, President of the Constitution here, Charles Thompson, who was from Northern Ireland, and the President of the Continental Congress, the Secretary of the Continental Congress, and John Dunlop, who was the printer. And it was basically a letter to King George III. They didn't want to kill him. They said, look, no taxation without political representation. We can't be having that. And they also said, we don't want powers put from a foreign government and a foreign court on us. History does go round and round, of course. That's what part of Brexit was about, taking powers from a foreign court, the ECHR overseeing the Supreme Court and overruling it. This is exactly why the United States went to war. And the United States was cut into thirds. 1/3 wanted to uprise against the British, 1/3 wanted to stay as it was, and the other third couldn't have cared less either way. And who really started this was the Scots, Irish and the Welsh, who were brought into the Appalachian Mountains by William Penn of Pennsylvania, who wrote to his permanent secretary, James Logan, who was from Lurgan, and said, bring me the heroes of Derry and Londonderry, the Williamite Wars of 1690, because that's where our Bill of Rights comes from in Britain. And it was denied to the colonists here in America. And that's when J.D. Vance stood in Munich and said, are we on the same Bill of Rights? Because, of course, after the Revolution, they adopted the Bill of Rights here in America, word for word. Religious freedoms, freedoms of speech, right to judiciary, right to own land, all came here to America in that revolution, which actually wasn't over in 1776. It didn't even start on the 4th of July. In fact, Washington didn't cross the Delaware till I think it was Christmas Eve. So this year here at this minute in time is the start of America's 250th birthday, and I'm actually amazed how many Americans don't know that, because they're telling me they haven't been educated in school this way. They've been educated a different way. So they have the same problems as we do in Britain. But the one thing they are proud of is their flag and their country, and it shows. Philadelphia's streets are absolutely spotless. The people are happy with life. They're working. Prices are dropping. Was it JFK said it's all about the economy, stupid? That's what's really happened here in America at the moment, and American people are very, very content with what is going on in their country. They are growing, their jobs are growing, and as I say, prices are dropping. But today, of course, is that big birthday. We've seen real shows of power in the Hudson River in New York with the Navy coming up through there. Again here in the Delaware River, many, many big naval vessels that are actually being retired. I think we would give our right arm for them to just get them out of Portsmouth, these retired ships. But I was just standing looking at them think this is amazing battleships sitting here in Delaware. And the Americans, even though many of their big events have been cancelled, are still out at small concerts and mostly inside the buildings. I just move this camera around here. You can see this is Independence Hall behind us. This is actually where the Declaration was drafted in there on the 2nd of July before it was signed and put to the nation. Now, I'm here shooting another programme. We shot one last year, Foundations of Freedom, for GB News, and it was all about the Scots, the Irish, the Welsh. One went out last night, Rebellion to Revolution, and it has some very eminent American historians on it. Look it up on YouTube. It's a good watch.
Cheers very much, Doogie. We look forward to watching that after this show. Don't be giving them any ideas. All right, Doogie Beatty there in Philadelphia, thank you very much. We'll be going over to Mexico for Ben Leo later on. He gets around, that boy. Now
he's negotiated his contract well, hasn't he?
He has, yeah. I mean, look at Doogie Beatty. They're normally in Northern Ireland, off in Philadelphia. Ben Leo in Mexico, living it large. And here's old Grimesy coming down on the train week in, week out. You know. Anyway, right. OK, we're going to look at some of the triggered tantrums of the week. We're going to go to Pablo first. Pablo, I can't remember what you have, so I'm hoping you do.
My trigger tantrum is about football.
Oh.
So I don't understand why this country is obsessed with football. I'm sorry to say it on a day like today, and I'm sorry to say it when I know this country loves it. Living in America, one of the best things that I enjoyed living in America was that I didn't have to listen to any of the European football that time. But football shirts, £115 you buy them for. They're made for £1 in Bangladesh. People paid nothing. Fans having to re-buy football shirts over and over and over and over again. They edit just a little bit to get there, so people buy another shirt. Why does this country love football so much? I don't get it.
Good to see you're endearing yourself to the audience.
Yeah.
Well, I don't understand it. Listen, I have to say what I believe in, and that is that. I don't have a problem with other people enjoying
Can I
it.
just say, at the start of this show, someone commented saying that you were easier on the eye than Kai. But even Kai would have a pint and watch the football.
Well, you know, it's very funny you say that, because I had written in my notes to remind myself that you'd introduced me very kindly, actually, but I had introduced myself as the Z-list Kai Wilshaw. So, so I'm great. I'll take that.
Yeah, he will. About football, you know, I played rugby as a kid. I was the small fat kid, so they said put that guy on a rugby field, not on a football field. But just whatever you think of the sport, it is the passion that it elicits and the tribalism which is unmatched in any other football or in any other sport, which makes it so magnificent.
Yeah.
Really,
There's nothing else in this country that brings people together more than football.
One day I will take you to St James's Park, right, and other football clubs are available, and you will see the way in which it unites people across all divides.
That bit I'm happy with. I don't have a problem with other people enjoying football. I have an issue that it kind of gets rammed down my throat.
No,
I do. I am told like I have to enjoy this football game all the time, that I've got to go to matches and my friends are like, I don't want to go to the pub. I don't want to watch the football game. You guys have fun.
Well,
you guys enjoy it. But don't make me go. I'm happy at home.
Your politics...
And don't get me started on the prices. Don't get me started on the prices, the season tickets, all of that stuff. All the stuff that comes with it.
But that's separate. I think, people are exploited when it comes to prices. But if you'd watched that game yesterday, Cape Verde against Argentina, I mean, it was one of the best matches I've ever seen. Even you...
I'm going to get in so much trouble because my friend who I'm staying with said that I should stay up and watch that game, and I was like, no, I'm going to bed.
Amazing.
She was furious with me in the morning when I didn't
so
watch it.
extraordinary is that Cape Verde is the same population size as County Durham. But, you know, they managed to knock off the big boys.
Yes.
It's extraordinary. Knock off the big boys. That sounds... a bit spicy for a Saturday night. Never mind, viewers. All right, you've been commenting along and saying lots of more PC things than what I've just said, my friends. We'll be getting to some of that in just a second. Trey, you're next. What have you got?
So, my tantrum is... Do you know, I think it speaks for itself, because it's actually really, really fun. Let's take a look.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
But what message would you just like to say? Because this one's voted for by the public.
Yeah.
And it's all down to the viewers. What message have you got for those guys?
Well, we've got the best viewers in the world, haven't we? The most loyal viewers, the best viewers. And, of course, they've supported Breakfast for so many years with Ellie and all the other members of Breakfast. And, you know, we can't do it without them.
Yeah, I think we are unique, GB News, in the way that our viewers are really central to everything that we do. So, you know, with our GB Views at gbnews.com, we're always reading off the comments. We have viewers on all the time to talk to us about our stories. I think we are the only place that actually has our viewers front and centre. So it's so nice to have something back in a Trick Award when they recognise, you know, the hard work that we try and do every single year. So please, God, 4 years on the trot would be great, wouldn't it?
GB News, the People's Channel. This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Is now wearing a Pegasus necklace badge commemorating the airborne forces. This week,
76 years ago started the Korean War, often known as the Forgotten War. This is an opportunity for remembrance as well, isn't it?
That's right. In remembering with all of the conflicts, it's affected every single person here who is in uniform. But it doesn't just stop there. Once they do get to the end of their service, they're often felt like they're forgotten about. So a big part of it is about remembering those that have fallen, but also those that are still alive and that are still with their own struggles. I wouldn't be able to do the job that I do now. I lead international expeditions and have done for the last 30 years. And the majority of those skills and that skill set and why I get asked back come directly from my time in the service, my time in the Royal Marines.
GB News, the People's Channel. This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
GB News Breakfast has won the Trick Awards for the 4th year on the trot. I'm here with Alex Armstrong and Diamond and Ellie Costello. Guys, congratulations. Ellie, how does it feel?
Just incredible. I was really hoping we could do it 4 years on the bounce, but you can't take these things for granted, can you? And I did think maybe they'll want to give it to someone else this year, and I really, really wanted us to win because Anne is here from her cruise.
Brilliant, yeah.
And Anne, your acceptance speech was amazing. You reflected on your years in the industry. How much does this mean?
I was able to hold one of these was 40 years ago, 1986, for the same sort of breakfast television programme that they said would never catch on.
There you go.
Full circle moment.
And what message have you got for GB News viewers? Because obviously this is voted for by the public.
Oh, it's thanks. I mean, it's real thanks, because that's why this award is so important.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Welcome back. John has just said, why do I like football? Why do certain people like the Eurovision Song Contest?
I boycotted it this year. Well, and you know I did.
Yes, from Metro. Anyway, right, Trey, what have you got for us?
Right, I've got an opinion that will probably get me cancelled. And my opinion is this, right? I think Keir Starmer is one of the most misunderstood prime ministers we've had in years. Let's take a look at this clip.
Oh, no clip. You have to explain why he's such a...
we can't hear him. So, look, listen. He's talking about all of his achievements, right? Now, before you guys throw something at the television, hear me out. I'm not saying I'd vote for him tomorrow or that I'll be joining the SAS, otherwise known as the Starmer Appreciation Society. But he's right. Compared with what he inherited... Compare that with where we are today. Let's have a look, right? Inflation has eased. The economy has stabilised. He introduced a sweeping Renters' Rights Act banning non-fault evictions. Net migration has fallen sharply. He's established closer security ties and defence ties with the EU. And he's formally recognised the State of Palestine. And the biggest surprise for me is actually this. When Donald Trump tried to push us to war, Starmer said, no, not today, sir. Now, of course, eventually he capitulated because he had to. But for that moment, I actually felt quite proud of him. It felt principled, especially after Iraq. Is Britain perfect? No, of course not. Has Starmer been frustrating at times? Wooden, lacking in charisma and conviction? Absolutely. But if the next government promises the earth and fails to deliver, don't be surprised if in 10 years we look back and we look at Keir Starmer and say, you know what? He wasn't that bad after all.
God. I mean, I say that about many prime ministers, but my God, I draw the line at Keir Starmer.
But
he hasn't
why?
even gone yet. Why?
Yes.
On everything, that man has, even if I vehemently disagreed with his platform, he has U-turned more times than Madonna on a dance floor. And that's relevant for this week because she's just got a new album out. Other albums are available. And that's the gayest thing I've ever said on this show. And to be
Probably
honest with
not.
you, that's a high bar. But honestly, Trey, you cannot say on everything from the winter fuel allowance U-turn, the farmers' assault, the way in which mass migration under him actually it hasn't stopped the boats.
It's got better than it was under the Tories. Surely even you can concede that.
Haven't.
Yeah, but that was as a result of Brexit.
Down because Brits are leaving under high-tax Starmer. Everything has got worse, and actually, I think two-tier policing is a legacy and a stain on this country.
I want to backtrack up here, actually, which is that when I was living in America, I was there when the sort of big bust-up happened with Zelensky in the White House, and it was horrifying to watch. The reaction of British people was so heartwarming. And when I then saw Zelensky walking down number 10 and Keir Starmer coming out to greet him, I genuinely have never felt proud of my country. I looked at that moment, I thought, that is my country, that is who we are. And that was Keir Starmer. And
Keir
so
Starmer,
you have to give him credit for that.
I wasn't alive, but I imagine the British people that were alive and watching this programme felt a damn sight prouder when it was Maggie Thatcher and Ronnie Reagan stood side by side.
You've been talking about the policy failures, and it has been a catastrophe from a policy perspective. But the real problem is that this country has felt like he is not on our side. So Douglas Murray said if he's remembered at all, it will be for him deciding that instead of dealing with the bad things in the country, he would instead arrest the people who didn't like the bad things that were happening in the country. And I think that sums it up very nicely. People have felt since Southport that this is a man that fundamentally is not on the side of the British people, and that is why he is uniquely loathed.
But that's a comms problem.
OK, hang on. We have actually got the clip that Trey wanted to play, so I'm going to let Emma Trimble respond off the back of it. She's a big fan.
Is the country in a better state now than it was when I inherited it 2 years ago?
And you think it is?
Oh, if you look across the big-ticket items that really matter, it was the aftermath of Liz Truss, and we have turned that around and stabilised the economy to a point now where we're the fastest-growing economy in the G7.
So, Emma, you heard that there. We're the fastest-growing economy in the G7. He saved the economy after Liz Truss. Do you feel like we're in the land of milk and honey?
I mean, it's mad. We've seen the UK's richest people fleeing the country. Anybody who wants to aspire to anything, who wants to build a business, who wants to save, is being persecuted. We're seeing small private schools closing down because they're being persecuted by this government. I mean, anybody who aspires to anything. And then, of course, there was the whole hoo-ha over the farmers. You've already mentioned all of those U-turns. And I think actually Will's already said it, really. I mean, this is not just a comms issue. This goes to the heart of the mediocrity and the problems in our political establishment, which is that this is a man who encapsulates the sense of betrayal that people feel and encapsulates that feeling that the establishment are not on our side. In fact, they are actually set against us.
And we should have known that throughout, Emma, because he was the architect of Labour's second referendum campaign. You know, he wanted to overturn the biggest...
And the idea that he's in some way stabilised and salvaged our economy is just a joke.
Absolutely.
Tanking it.
Couldn't agree with you more. Hang on, Trey. We'll come back to your views in just a second. I'm sure the audience is delighted. Loads more to come, including why Emma thinks there should be a national emergency declared. Find out why.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good evening and welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. It's still going to be a bit of a northwest split over the UK for the next couple of days, but as we go in towards Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, temperatures are going to turn a bit hotter in a few places. Now, it's all down to this high pressure system we've got out towards the southwest, and we still have these wavy frontal systems across the north as well, but we do have a little bit of a ridge of high pressure building here. So although it was wet through the afternoon across western Scotland, it is turning a lot more patchier, especially across northern England as we go through the overnight period. Across the south, we do have some clearer skies, but another mild night to come. Temperatures around those mid-teens, so it will be a pretty mild start to a Sunday morning. And as we head through the second half of the weekend, it is going to be very similar to Saturday. We've still got some rain out towards the west, a little bit drier over towards the east. Orkney and Shetland seeing the best of the brightness first thing. Northern Ireland does see some showery rain across the north, and northern England may just be a little bit wetter than what they saw over the last couple of days. Some patchy cloud across the Midlands, but again, South Wales, southern England getting the best of the brightness for the start of Sunday. As we go through the day, this rain will slowly start to drift its way eastwards by the late morning and into the early afternoon. So it is turning increasingly wet once again across western Scotland. But this cloud across the Midlands and Wales, it will lift, it will start to break, and we will start to see some sunnier skies. So in that sunshine, it is going to feel like a pretty warm to even hot day. Highs of around 29 degrees in the far southeast. Now, to start the new week, again, it is a very similar day to come. Brightness across the south. It may turn a little bit brighter across northern England by the afternoon. A lot of rain across the north as well. But over the next couple of days, still got that cloud in the north and sunshine in the south. But as we go through Monday, Tuesday, those temperatures into the 30s.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
What would you do with £60,000 cash? What would you do with a real gold bar? Well, both have to be won in our Golden Summer celebration. First, there's £60,000 in tax-free cash to bolster your bank account this year. Plus, we'll also give you a fine gold bar worth over £5,000. For a chance to win, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry starts at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pulled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of the matter? So that's a very live question. Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account.
You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way. You will not want to miss it, trust me.
The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes and Co weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Okoye, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk now? No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up? About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
It's Saturday night and this is the Saturday 5, the UK's biggest Saturday night TV show. I'm still Darren Grimes and I'm still delighted to be alongside Will Kingston, not Renee. Renee's in the auto queue. You cannot keep that woman away. Emma Trimble is with me now. I got your married name right this time, Emma. Trey Lowe and not Kai Wilshaw, but Pablo. And tonight on the show, my friends,
it's official. This is the gayest parliament in British history.
It's time for us to declare a state of national emergency over the migrant crisis.
And something's happening on Monday. Will, are you excited?
Very much so. Very much so.
And are the migrants to blame for hot weather? From me, your Z-list Kai Wilshaw, the presidency desecrated. Has Trump killed the American experiment?
I like that. It's 7 p.m. and this is the Saturday 5. Welcome to the Saturday 5, and of course, my friends, we are desperate to know your views as well. Send them and post your comments by gbnews.com/news. your say, and lots of them are coming in, and some of them not too friendly about your views on Sir Keir Starmer, I must say.
Yeah, you know, and that's understandable, I get it. Look, listen, I personally wouldn't vote for Keir. I'm not saying he was incredible, but I do think we're going to look back and say he wasn't as bad as we think he... For me, personally, he wasn't as bad as Liz Truss, like nowhere near that.
I know exactly what you're angling for, and it's the resignation on his list. That's what it is.
Lord Traylow, it sounds
He
good.
says, Keir, if you're listening, I'll send you my address. But before, my friends, we start tearing each other apart once more, it is Saturday Night News with Tatiana Sanchez.
Darren, thank you and good evening. The top stories. The Duchess of Sussex and her 2 children won't be travelling to London with Prince Harry next week. It's understood no decision's been made on whether they'll join Harry for the rest of his 5-day trip to the UK. He's expected to attend a series of engagements linked to the Invictus Games and his charity. It's reported this decision comes after his family were denied taxpayer-funded police protection. England's World Cup knockout match against Mexico will kick off at the planned time despite proposals to bring the game forward. Officials had considered moving the game from 1 a.m. Monday morning to 7 p.m. on Sunday because of a threat to storms. FIFA, the FA and the Mexican Federation all say they'll continue to monitor the weather. Meanwhile, pubs across the UK will be allowed to stay open until 5 a.m. and many schools also allowing pupils to start late on Monday so they can watch the game. In his first interview since resigning as Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer has defended his legacy, saying he saved the Labour Party. After just 2 years in number 10, Starmer said his likely successor, Andy Burnham, would have to spend just as much time on foreign diplomacy as he did. Speaking to the BBC, he also opened up about what he called the intensely personal decision to stand down.
When Vic and I were away with the kids, we went to Chequers and just spent 2 days together as a family. And that's when I came to my final decision. And it wasn't that I didn't want other advice at that stage. I'd had plenty of conversations. But when you are taking the decision to step down from the role as Prime Minister, taking the decision that your political career is over, it is an intensely personal matter, or at least it was for me.
Elsewhere, another heatwave is on the way, bringing highs of 34 degrees Celsius for parts of the UK. A week-long warning from health officials came into force today at midday, with high temperatures causing a greater risk to life for vulnerable people. Yellow heat health alerts have been issued covering the Midlands and the south of England until next Saturday. Meanwhile, Southern Water and South East Water have both issued a hosepipe ban across Hampshire and Kent. And the King has hailed the UK's relationship founded on friendship with the US on the 250th anniversary of independence. He called the occasion a truly historic milestone and a moment of great celebration for Americans everywhere. Meanwhile, President Trump called on Americans to defend the country's founding values ahead of the anniversary. Speaking at Mount Rushmore, he warned of what he described as a growing communist threat, saying some progressive Democrats hold ideas that oppose the American way of life. The United States is celebrating with nationwide events, including a series of concerts and firework displays. Those are the latest GB News headlines. For now, more from me in an hour.
Take the GB News family with you on any device. As long as you have an internet connection, tune into GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond.
It's Saturday night, my friends, and you're with the Saturday Five. I'm Darren Grimes, and I can promise that you're in for a very lively hour. Right, we're going to crack on with tonight's main event. Who's up next, then?
Well, that'll be me.
Oh.
So I think it's time for us to declare a state of national emergency, and here's why. Illegal migrants have been filmed throwing away their papers in the Channel, and this guy saying, "This is the end of England." And he's not wrong, is he? Because if this continues the way that it's going, this will be the end of England. It will be finished. We already know that the English are on track to become a minority within the next few decades. But it's not just that. The government are letting those come into the country who hate us and who want to hurt us. Only this week, we've just seen yet another rape. An Afghan has been found guilty of raping, this time 2 teenage girls, just 14 years old. And now that guy has been here for 2 years. He's been granted indefinite leave to remain along with his family, which means he probably isn't going to be deported, is he? And, you know, we've seen during the pandemic that where the political will is there, anything is possible. The government really can pull its act together if it wants to. But apparently not in this case, where it is clearly a security and safety risk and a threat to the future of this country. So I think it's high time, in fact, we've passed the point at which we should have done this, but it is high time that we declare a state of national emergency and put a stop to this.
So, Emma, what would that actually look like? What would happen as a consequence of that, just for our viewers?
Well, anybody who comes here needs to be deported immediately. Anyone who comes here illegally should never have any right to stay. They should be immediately deported. They should be, if they need to be taken back to France, we need to find a way of achieving that. This just simply can't go on.
And can we do that whilst being a party to the European
obviously
Convention?
we need to leave the European Convention on Human Rights.
And Pablo is in full agreement with...
I am in full agreement. It's funny, isn't it? Because we were told that leaving the EU was going to solve this problem. Illegal immigration has quadrupled since we left the EU. What on earth makes you think that suddenly leaving the ECR is going to save this problem? Not least because less than 2% of immigration to this country is illegal. Yes, illegal immigrants should not be in this country. That's why they're illegal. But it's less than 2% of immigration. And leaving the EU has made it worse. Leaving the ECR is not going to make it any better, but it will strip away tons of rights in this country, not least destabilising Northern Ireland.
Name one.
Destabilising Northern Ireland.
Name one right that will be stripped away if you leave the ECHR.
There are several rights across. Well, you want to talk about the rights of people in Northern Ireland to live in peace and freedom? The Good Friday Agreement is rested. You don't want to talk about that?
No, that's not a right.
What, the right to live in peace?
That's not a right. They are protected by the law.
They are protected by the ECHR. The ECHR underpins the Good Friday Agreement. Leaving the ECHR will destroy peace in Northern Ireland.
They said Brexit would do that.
Well, and it has caused issue after issue after issue in Northern Ireland. It was, I mean, look at the negotiations when we were trying to leave the EU. It was a disaster.
Do you know, I actually think, ironically, Emma, that Brexit has united the country and mass migration in Northern Ireland because of the fact that on mass migration, they are saying on both sides, be they Sinn Féin voters, be they DUP voters, we do not want these people here.
You have seen people inexplicably marching with the tricolour and the Union flag together against mass migration. But to your point, and I think this is really important, Brexit was about sovereignty. So Brexit gave us some of our sovereignty back, but there are all sorts of other ways in which our constitution has been wrecked by various changes that Tony Blair brought in, but also by our membership of the ECHR. So it's given us some of our sovereignty back, but sovereignty means that you have the right to screw up yourself, right? Yeah, and so that's precisely what we've done. We've done it with legal migration and we've done it with illegal migration. Yes. But the point is that in order to actually have full proper parliamentary democracy where the people don't just pull the levers and find that nothing ever changes, what we need to do is have full sovereignty back in Parliament. That means that the law can guarantee rights. It can guarantee rights for people in Northern Ireland. It can guarantee our rights, you know, across the board, but it would be within our control. And I think the point that is most important to make here is that if we leave the ECHR, we will be able to defend our borders, and you can't be a sovereign nation unless you do that.
OK, Emma, before I bring Trey in, what did that man say in that clip? What was that man saying in that clip?
Well, I believe he was saying, this is the end of England.
This is the end of England. So, Trey, you're a dad. Do you worry about men coming over to this country saying things like, this is the end of England?
No, because I think those people are just trolling at the end of the day. Do I worry about it like people are coming over and everyone coming on boats is actively like coming to try and kill and murder people? That's not the case. You know, some of them are illegal immigrants. Some of them, I suspect, are some of them are generally refugees. Some of them are generally coming here for a better life and they shouldn't stay. But I think what's been whipped up is a sense that everyone that's arriving here is intent on sort of murder, rape and pillage and all that sort of stuff. I don't think that is true. So wait. It doesn't mean we shouldn't do something about immigration. But I think a lot of it has been a lot of rhetoric that's been whipped up about these
So, Emma,
people.
you're just whipping up hate.
I think the people who are allowing this to continue are the ones who are divisive. Because you don't know... I mean, you might say not all of the people who are coming in are going to rape, murder or want to take over the country. One of the other things apparently these migrants were saying was London is finished, right? So you might say, oh, they're just trolling, this is just bravado. But actually it's spite, isn't it? It's spiteful. It shows an attitude towards this country, an attitude of entitlement and an attitude of hatred. And I think the important point to make that has been made time and time again is that we do not know who is coming in, so we don't know who's a rapist. And
can I just come back on that? No, look, listen, I do agree. I even agree on the point of this, right? For instance, you know, if you're ethnically white British, you know, you do have a right to think, well, what is happening to my nation? You know, white British people are going to become a minority. But I think a lot of that's to do with other issues where even if you stop migration, birth rates, there's lots of different things. What are you going to do about that?
I remember, Will, a man called Terry Carney in Hartlepool was out in the early morning collecting some cash out of a cash point and he was stabbed to death by a man that should never have been here in Hartlepool. That is up in the northeast of England, right? And we're not worried. We ought not be worried about these men coming across in boats saying things like that.
No, we should be worried.
There's a story like that now every single day. And it doesn't mean that every single person who comes on a boat is going to be committing these crimes, but they do commit them at a disproportionate rate compared to the native population.
That's not
true. They're coming. OK, let's stop and take this back. Even if you don't believe the data, and the data is there, stop and think through this, Pablo, really logically. If you come from a country that has lower rates of education, which has different attitudes towards women, which and girls, which a lot of the time has a fundamentalist Islamic doctrine or religious doctrine, like, how can you not think that they would commit crime at disproportionate rates statistically? How can you not get that into your head?
Because the statistic is that 83% of crimes in this country are committed by white people.
Oh dear, we still need to explain per capita, do we? Mate, that's because there are more white people.
Right, but it is still the principle. You're talking. You are applying selective data, selective stories. You're saying, oh, there's a story every single day. There's a story every single day because the right-wing media are pushing a narrative that we should be scared of these people.
I would love to see you look at the victims in the eye. Look into the eyes.
But I'm not defending those people. Anybody that commits a crime in this country.
I'm not saying you are, but I would love to see you look into the eyes of people whose family have been murdered by people who never had any right to be here in the first place. And to look into the eyes of the victims of people who shouldn't have been here in the first place if we had had proper control over our borders and say that to their face.
Can I add as well, you're always going to have crime committed by citizens of a country. There is no country that doesn't have crime. Every single crime committed by an illegal migrant is a choice of government.
Exactly.
It is an addition to what we currently have. It's not a debate as to whether or not, you know, and whilst I believe thoroughly, and the data supports me, that they do commit crime at a disproportionate rate. Again, then answer my... stop it. Just be logical, Trey. I've just put a first principles, very logical argument as to why they would commit more crime on average. How am I wrong?
OK, let me tell you this, right?
No. Answer my question.
Because it doesn't just follow that because someone's from a certain country that they come to another country, they act that way. My parents came from a country. In many ways, a lot of immigrants bring better values. Africans are far more likely to be Christians, for instance. They're much more likely to be really hard on their kids to go to school. There are lots of positive traits that lots of migrants have. This sense of people are coming from barbaric countries and they're bringing their barbarism with them. That's not true. The data doesn't support that. It's a bit like saying Brits who are going to Dubai, who are used to going to the pub and drinking, are taking their traits with them. No, they're not. The minute they get to Dubai, they behave themselves. For by and large, most people who come to this country try and behave themselves.
Are the white British people going to Dubai committing atrocities over there? I must have missed that.
I just have to say, what's interesting about what you just said is that you've actually implied that different countries have different values and cultures, and that some are better than others. And so you've mentioned people coming from African countries where the culture is Christian, but what about Afghanistan? What about a culture where the people, at least at the moment, the Taliban, are depriving girls of education, where girls who want to go to school are attacked, where there are honour killings, where there's FGM, where there are all sorts of acts of violence against women. And you're willing to acknowledge that people bring their values positive values
Yep.
with them,
Mhm.
but you're not willing to acknowledge that they might have
I
negative
will
values.
acknowledge till the cows come home that there are bad people that come over. I would be the first one to deport someone that comes over and does crimes. I'm not defending that, but there are lots of people that come and do good things, but nobody talks about those things. Not only that, Afghanistan for 20 years, it was a country that the Americans tried for better or for worse to actually make better. People got used to that system. They weren't all clamouring, you know, to get back to this, what you call a barbaric state.
Can I ask one more question? Trade, 99% of girls between the ages of 16 and 40 in Somalia experience female genital mutilation. If you bring more Somalians into this country, do you think rates of female genital mutilation will rise here?
Not necessarily is what I'm trying to say to you. No, listen, the problem is just men. If you really looked at it, as men. The danger posed to women is men. But guys, I'm not... Wait, let me just say something. You guys, I think you think I'm going against what you're saying. I think you're right. We don't know where people are coming from. These people should be vetted. If they do something wrong, they should be kicked out. But like Pablo just said, we're talking about 2%. What about the other people coming over? Do you see what I'm saying?
2% of a population of 70 million is actually one hell of a lot of people. And do you know what?
No, 2% of them coming over, coming illegal on boats.
They are not moving in next door to you. They are not moving into your nice part of the world in London. They are being moved in next door to working class people in areas like County Durham who have lives that are hard enough as it is. And you say, well, they might be nice guys, so it's all right. It's only 2% of them. And what do you say to all of those families who have to suffer the very worst vestiges of humanity that turn up unannounced, you don't get warned that they're moving in next door to you, and the worst things happen. And you say it's all right because some of them might be nice.
Let me tell you what I'm saying. I come from one of those people that you talk about. Let me explain.
Did you come on a small boat?
It's not about small boats. You guys seem to be talking about migrants banking. You just said only 2% of migrants are coming on boats. So most of them are not. Those people were my mum and dad. People of that time said the exact same things.
Who came
no blacks,
illegally.
no dogs, no Irish. I don't think there's a distinction between legal and illegal. You're talking about... Wait, let me explain what I mean. You're talking about demographic changes. Would you only want to see boats stop, or do you want to see some sort of curbs on all migration?
What I'm talking about is being able to control your borders, because it's a security risk if you can't. There's a very big difference between legal and illegal.
I agree with you.
Where it comes to if people are throwing their papers away, like we saw in that photo,
I agree.
In the video, that's very different. But what's important here, going back to Darren's point, is that the government acknowledges that there's a risk, because now they're talking about not housing these people who are coming over here and claiming refugee status, not housing them next to schools and parks.
So listen,
so it's an acknowledgement.
Let me say it like this. I actually agree with you. I would actually treat single men very different from everyone else. Like I say, my wife is a refugee. I see a lot of single men coming over. Perhaps we should put them in a place where we can keep an eye on them. I do agree with you.
So you do accept there's a difference between legal and illegal migration, then?
Look, I accept that if people are going to put single men coming over boats where we don't know where they're from, so we can keep an eye on them, that is fine. But what I'm saying is that often it's a blanket statement about migration. Like what Darren just said was a blanket statement. I'm a product of people who came to this country who were seen as backwards, less than, they're going to cause problems, blah, blah, blah. And we didn't. The Windrush generation, the Africans that came over, lots of migrants came over. I was in Notting Hill. My parents came to Notting Hill. It was exactly what you just described. The people that were there all left, thinking, oh my God, it's full of migrants. All the Irish are coming, all the Jews are coming, all the blacks are coming. But people integrated and they were okay. So sometimes this kind of sense of a dog whistling of how bad they're going to be is not always the case. But for those who potentially are issues, maybe we should put them somewhere we can keep an eye on them. There's nothing wrong with that.
All right. Right. Still to come tonight, Pablo's going to have his say on America's 250th birthday. This is the Saturday 5, and we're only on GB News.
Welcome to Free Speech Nation with me, Josh Howard. This is the show where each week we see what's happening in the world of culture, current affairs and politics.
First we'll say, welcome to the UK. Oh, thank you.
And we're not afraid to use our free speech so that you can use yours.
It's not controversial in the slightest to anyone who hasn't lost their mind.
Free Speech Nation, Sunday nights at 7 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From court mornings
to warm family brunches,
from football to tennis in the car,
in the kitchen.
GB News Breakfast is there with the stories you need and the conversations that matter.
Anyway, let's talk business.
Well, it has been a historic night in British politics.
It's astonishing, isn't it?
We're here again.
To start your day just right. GB News Breakfast.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to the Saturday Five. Now, England's World Cup knockout match against Mexico will kick off at the planned time, despite proposals to bring the game forward. Officials considered moving the game from 1 a.m. on Monday to 7 p.m. on Sunday because of the threat of thunderstorms in the area. Meanwhile, pubs across the UK will be allowed to stay open later, and many schools will allow pupils to start late on Monday so they can watch the match in the early hours. Will you be up and forth, watching this, praying for England to win?
I won't, but I've got a very good excuse, Darren. That is because I will be hosting The Late Show live only on GB News, 12 a.m. till 3 a.m. tomorrow night, ladies and gentlemen. So if the football doesn't take your fancy, why don't you pop in and watch GB News? But this will be an extraordinary match. I don't think it's going too far to say one of the defining matches in English sporting history when you think about the challenge that awaits the lads in terms of the altitude and the fact that you're playing a team at home. I can't wait to watch it, at least on replay. We have the great Ben Leo on the ground, who is going to report to us on what was a Starmer-esque U-turn from FIFA. Ben, bring us up to speed. To be clear, 1 a.m.
Hello, good morning to you from Mexico City. Yes, it's still going to be 1 a.m. UK time on Monday morning. And actually, let me just be honest, this whole thing about moving the match, I smelt BS from the start. I did a hit in the airport in Washington, D.C. yesterday. FIFA haven't commented, the FA haven't commented. I don't know where it came from. There's been talk about the fact there's fears about lightning strikes and thunderstorms. I've just looked at the weather app for tomorrow at the Azteca Stadium here in Mexico City. It's going to be fine. There are no risk of thunderstorms or lightning strikes. Yes, things can change. Weather forecasts aren't entirely accurate, but as I said, FIFA and the FA haven't commented on this yet, so I don't know really where it's come from. The match is still being played at its original time. The England team, they arrived in Mexico City last night, as did we, GB News crew, my cameraman and I. And we did think at some point that the FA would have kept the England team's hotel secret, because what we saw with Mexico against Ecuador maybe last week was Mexican fans en masse camping outside the Ecuador team hotel, making a hell of a racket all through the night, with bands playing, car horns honking, fireworks going off. The Ecuador team, the Football Association, have now raised an official complaint with FIFA about that. And we thought, in light of that mischief from the Mexican fans, that the FA, the English FA, would have tried to keep their team hotel under wraps. But no, everybody knows where they're staying. They're staying in a hotel just over there, over the park. And there are Mexico fans, I think right now, camped outside the England hotel, causing some mischief. So the real show will be tonight. Will the Mexico fans do what they did against Ecuador, blast music out, set fireworks off, and try and keep Harry Kane, Jude Bellingham, Anthony Gordon, Thomas Tuchel, will they be kept up all night from their precious slumber? And if they are, will it affect their performance against Mexico in the Azteca in this last 16. It's going to be a hell of a match. I think England will do it.
Well, Ben, you talk about the players being kept up. There is a debate raging amongst parents across this country of whether they let the kiddies stay up to watch the game at 1 a.m. Are you going to let your kids stay up to watch the match?
Yeah, good question. I've not really thought about it. I mean, they didn't stay up for the earlier England games, which were at like, what was it, 9 o'clock, I think, 9 p.m, the last ones. I actually think it's very important kids, A, go to school, and B, get their sleep, the most important thing. They need to get their sleep. So I just speak from experience. My boys don't run too well or operate too well when they've had a late night staying up playing with Pokemon cards or whatever. So I'll leave it down to my wife, who's back home in the UK. But no, I don't really want them to stay up till 1 in the morning. It'll be 3 in the morning, won't it? Yeah, I don't think it's good. My kids are 6 and 3 for reference, for context. Older kids, yeah, I don't know. Down to the parents, isn't it?
We'll discuss this one with the panel. Ben, we can't wait for your 4th of July special with Bev Turner at 12 a.m. on The Late Show Live. We'll see you then. Team, this is an interesting conversation. In one respect, this could be one of the great moments in English sporting history. Again, I can't understate the magnitude of this challenge to play Mexico at home, but also, if you haven't played sport at altitude, you don't understand just how the lungs are busting come the 15th minute. The Mexicans will be more used to it than the English lads. If they win, it will be one of the great victories. Emma, do you think it's reasonable then to extend out the bedtime to 1 a.m?
I'm so glad that you didn't come to me in that moment on a question of football rather than on whether or not the children should be allowed to stay up. I think Ben's right. You know, it's up to the parents, but also I think it depends on the age. It's probably not a good idea, is it, to let a 6-year-old stay up? But that said, if you've got a kid who's sort of like wild for football, I'm not a parent myself, so I can't really judge these things. But I think it's nice for kids to be able to take part in these sorts of like big national moments.
Trey, how old's your little one?
He's 1, and if he was 6 years old, of course he's staying up and watching that. Come on, guys, don't be killjoys. This is England. Let your kids stay up. I think it should be a national holiday. People should be waving those flags. Come on. And like Will said, you know, I have to admit, I don't know if we're going to get through that game with a victory. I won't lie, partly based on form, partly based on altitude, but I'd love to see the whole country out supporting them, like sending them all of that positive energy, and hopefully Kane would just bang a couple in and we get through. But yeah, my kid would be up watching that. Hell yeah, of course.
This is one of the most unbelievable records that I've read in sport. Mexico have lost only 2 out of 89 competitive games at the Azteca Stadium since 1966. So if the lads can do it, that would be one of the most remarkable victories.
It would be tough. And when you see them playing in front of their home fans, and they're a loud lot, I mean, come on, you've got the wind in your sail. I don't know. It'll be a miracle. It'll be a miracle for us to win that. But if we do win it, what it will do is it will send a strong message to everyone else. I think everyone's kind of looking at England like, they're not really quite up there. But if we win that, and we really win it, like, in a way that, without doubt, I think everyone else is going to be quite scared, including the French.
I was just going to say, I live near a pub, and when England scores a goal, you can really hear it. And I'm quite hoping for a sort of repetition of what I experienced on the night of Brexit, where I was woken up by people cheering at the news. So it would be quite a nice thing to be woken up at 3 a.m. learning that England's won, even though I've actually never watched a football game.
And in this case, unlike Brexit, it will actually be for something positive. So, yeah, let's hope we get a win.
OK, right. Still to come tonight, my friends. Pablo, what are you going to be talking about again?
I am asking, is the 250-year American experiment dead?
Oh, well, that's cheery. This is the Saturday 5, only on GB News.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News travel destinations forecast.
A lot of fine weather at the moment throughout Europe, especially through the Mediterranean, where it's going to be hot in Portugal during the next few days, and less wet for Greece compared with the last few days. Showers on Sunday tending to ease, but there will still be the odd shower or thunderstorm. Italy, widespread sunny skies, the breeze here easing after a blustery few days. But look at Lisbon, 39 Celsius. That's unusually hot for the time of year, and it continues into next week.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News travel destinations forecast.
Good evening and welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. It's still going to be a bit of a northwest split over the UK for the next couple of days, but as we go in towards Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, temperatures are going to turn a bit hotter in a few places. Now it's all down to this high pressure system we've got out towards the southwest, and we still have these wavy frontal systems across the north as well, but we do have a little bit of a ridge of high pressure building here. So although it was wet through the afternoon across western Scotland, it is turning a lot more patchier, especially across northern England as we go through the overnight period. Across the south, we do have some clearer skies, but another mild night to come. Temperatures around those mid-teens, so it will be a pretty mild start to Sunday morning. And as we head through the second half of the weekend, it is going to be very similar to Saturday. We've still got some rain out towards the west, a little bit drier over towards the east. Orkney and Shetland seeing the best of the brightness first thing. Northern Ireland does see some showery rain across the north, and northern England may just be a little bit wetter than what they saw over the last couple of days. Some patchy cloud across the Midlands, but again, South Wales, southern England getting the best of the brightness for the start of Sunday. As we go through the day, this rain will slowly start to drift its way eastwards by the late morning and into the early afternoon. So it is turning increasingly wet once again across western Scotland. But this cloud across the Midlands and Wales, it will lift, it will start to break, and we will start to see some sunnier skies. So in that sunshine, it is going to feel like a pretty warm to even hot day. Highs of around 29 degrees in the far southeast. Now to start the new week, again, it is a very similar day to come. Brightness across the south. It may turn a little bit brighter across northern England by the afternoon. A lot of rain across the north as well. But over the next couple of days, still got that cloud in the north and sunshine in the south. But as we go through Monday, Tuesday, those temperatures into the 30s.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
I've been in Westminster for a long time, but I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
Welcome back to the Saturday Five. Thank you very much for getting in contact. Trey, you've made yourself very popular tonight. Very, very popular indeed. Now, a lot of the questions, Emma, saying, one, how beautiful you are, which is very kind of them, yes, but also actually asking, how does it make you feel about the prospect of, and this is a very deep question, so forgive me, of bringing a child into this world?
Oh, God. I mean, I know some people think, you know, the direction of travel of the country is so awful. How could we bring, a child into this? And I do, when, lots of friends of mine have just had children, and I do think, what will the country be like when they grow up? And I think that should inspire people to fight for a better country. And I mean that obviously politically, just as a caveat. And I think that people should have more children and bigger families, and it should inspire people to sort of get on with it.
Yeah. Pablo, are you pregnant?
Not.
No.
Is that a disappointment for you?
People on your side of the political fence think that that's possible, so you just never know.
Left-wing men can get pregnant. Can you heard?
Would you bring a child into this world?
Listen, I'm actually really not a kid person at all. I struggle with kids big time, but, I would consider adopting, I guess.
Well, it's a deep question, Will, but come on. You've got a new woman on the scene.
I do. Not pregnant, to my knowledge.
Look, I've got some breaking news.
I've been surprised with flowers on this show before, but that would be a very, very different type of surprise.
Like Jerry Springer.
And here she is.
I agree. I think these are dark times for the country, but to Emma's point, that is more reason to fight for what is so great about this country. So, yes, I would still bring... Not personally, but I would still support having children.
So everyone on your sea, you know what you need to be getting busy with, but after this show. All right, Pablo, what have you got for us then?
OK, so 250 years ago, a handful of men in Philadelphia signed one long complaint about us. They declared themselves a nation bigger than any one man, and that was the experiment. But in reality, it started earlier. It wasn't the wealthy or the powerful who demanded that first contract on board a ship in 1620. It was ordinary people. They wanted fair rules, or they turned around. A contract born of the common man, one that shut out women, black Americans and the indigenous people already there, and rewritten endlessly times ever since. Fast forward and look at what the country has become. The White House has been looted, the presidency desecrated. His own filings show Trump made over $2 billion last year, more than in any year of his life. Long gone are the days of presidents like Jimmy Carter, who handed over the peanut farm, you know, that had been in his family for generations, just to ensure there were no conflicts of interest. Trump sold crypto to foreign states. The policy followed. He turned pardons into currency, releasing dodgy donors and fraudsters, tearing up more than $1 billion owed to the people they cheated. He stripped women of emergency care, shipped people to foreign cells with no hearing, some even he admits by mistake. He's decided that giving people a trial is too much trouble, whilst his own Justice Department made his tax returns untouchable, then gutted the unit that prosecutes them. Our allies like Ukraine have been betrayed, the cost of living has soared, and any sense of duty or decency in office has been thrown out. And ordinary Americans, well, when a president can make the office that is supposed to serve them serve just one person, himself, is it time to ask that the experiment of America has failed? Yep.
Boo.
Go on, Trey, then. You go first.
I mean, look at this stat, right? 12.3% of the US population are on food stamps. Well, you got a president who said, I'm not going to be taking a salary, that's right, yeah? Who made $2 billion. Now, I've been in cryptocurrency around 2017. It's like the wild west. And whilst I'm not accusing Trump of anything, my God, the amount of people, ordinary investors that put money in and they buy coins that are essentially worthless. I mean, these are people who can't afford to lose. I think you're right about that, essentially. I think I can't imagine a worse time for America to be celebrating 250 years. It doesn't look great for them. His approval rating is terrible. You've got a war that's costing absolute billions, whilst people can't even afford that nobody wanted. People can't afford gas prices. I think it's quite horrendous, I think, at this time. It's quite sad. And I think you saw that when they had that celebration. It was pretty much empty. You had people on stage singing to an empty crowd. And you can't blame that just on hot weather, because in that same week, people were going to all sorts of things, including the World Cup, packing stadiums. I think the sense of the American dream has sort of crumbled, I think. And I can't just blame Trump for that, but it's certainly accelerated under his presidency.
A couple of points. Number one, they're all corrupt. If you think that the Clintons and Biden weren't grifting their way through the White House, you are sadly mistaken. This isn't a unique phenomenon. I'm not saying it's a good thing, obviously, but I'm saying they're all corrupt to varying degrees. But the second thing is, and America faces its challenges at the moment, but there is something which I'm incredibly envious of, and that is that it continues to commit to the ideals of liberty and freedom in a way which other countries simply do not. What I wouldn't give for the equivalent of the First Amendment in this country. And as long as they have that, they remain in so many ways a beacon or shining light on the hill, to use the Reagan phrase, for the rest of the world. Now, it's not to diminish the problems, but they maintain, particularly when it comes to freedom of speech, something which we should all strive for.
I just want to pick up on the freedom thing, because freedom to do what? They have 500,000 people go bankrupt, completely bankrupt, because they can't afford their health care. Someone is shot every 5 minutes and shot dead every 10. What is this freedom? People talk about freedom in America all the time, but what are they doing with that freedom?
Yeah, that's right. You go.
Oh, no, sorry, I think I'm right in saying that more people die from heat-related issues each year in Europe than die of gun violence in the United States. I'm not saying they've not got a problem with gun violence, but amen to everything that you've just said. I mean, they stand for freedom. One of the reasons why Trump has been elected for a second term is because he's seen as the patriotic president. I mean, everything he stands for is so deeply, deeply American. He stands for that kind of intrepid freedom. I'm not saying he's perfect. I'm not saying that he's not got some things wrong, but the idea that, you know, this isn't actually, I think, the perfect time for a Trump presidency to be on the 250th anniversary of the founding of the country.
Would you be able to say to the families in the same week that Trump had that attempted assassination, which, by the way, was obviously terrible and should not have happened, that same week there were 7 children who were shot dead in a school. You'd say to those parents, well, you know, more people die of heat.
No, well, I mean, the point about that is that we don't even have the freedom.
But the difference is that heat is dictated by the sun.
No,
guns are dictated by ridiculous laws and bad people who don't know how to control them.
But that's taking it off on a tangent. I'm not saying. I mean, America does have a problem with gun violence for sure. I mean, a good friend of mine, you know, was a victim of political violence in the United States, and this is something that really matters to me. I'm not diminishing, you know, any of those, you know, incidents at all. But the point is that, you know, President Trump stands fully and firmly for the freedom that underpins the Constitution and for the principles that America was founded on. And it's one of the reasons why he's become so popular, is because he's taken America back to the heart of what America is.
OK, Trey, hold that thought, because, Pablo, I want to ask you a very simple question. Imagine a world in which the United States of America as a project never blossomed, and that it was a failed project, as you describe, over the last 250 years. Imagine a world today in which the axis of evil of China and Iran and Russia is the dominant force within the world. Are you seriously suggesting that you, dare I say, as a Westerner who lives life happily and free because of the American security that the world is afforded, that actually you would be better off in that test subject?
I don't want America to fail. I don't want America to fail. I want America to be a strong, functioning democracy where people are genuinely free and that the president just genuinely serve them. I just don't. There is absolutely no way that right now that is happening under Trump's presidency. The citizens of America are not benefiting. The cost of living is through the roof. The war is not wanted. People's healthcare are through the roof. People in the UK, it is the biggest thing that people in the UK cannot get their heads around. We are so lucky to have the NHS. They don't have that in America. You can pay for the NHS. You can fork out thousands per month for your premiums, for your insurance, and then you go to get help, and they ask for more, and they ask for more, and they ask for more. I don't want America to fail. I actually think America's a great country. It is just right now in a really difficult space, and it's really
do you know how puerile a leftist argument is that, though, to say because you don't like the current sitting president, that a 250-year-old project has ultimately failed because of 2 terms of 8 years?
Because he's failed it. He has destroyed the White House. He has, I mean, to be honest, it's not a million miles away from Boris Johnson. Destroyed the office, destroyed what public service should be. He should be serving the American people.
The United Kingdom, thousands of years of history, has failed because of Keir Starmer's prime ministership of not even 2 years.
You're going to compare Keir Starmer's record to Donald Trump.
Absolutely not. Trump is far more effective.
You want to take Donald Trump over Keir Starmer?
But you know what shocks me?
What about all of our international allies? How do you think if we took the same line that America took, how would people feel about that on things like Ukraine, for example?
Who cares?
Who cares?
I'm sick.
So you don't care. You don't care about all the people being murdered by Putin. You don't care if they start knocking on the door of the rest of Europe or the UK.
You always say things like, we need to be around the table, we need to have a seat at the table. I'm sick of the damn table. I need people to focus on this damn country for once. Yeah. Anyway, right, make sure you tune in to GB News from midnight tonight as, well, there's a special... I nearly said you were on it, Will, there, but you're not.
Why not?
We have a special programme live from Washington, D.C. We'll bring you President Donald J. Trump's landmark address to the nation. Pablo will be watching. Spectacular military flyby flyovers, star-studded performances and all the celebrations as America marks its 250th birthday. Our America 250 special begins at midnight and continues through into GB News breakfast. Right, still to come tonight, find out the answer to this.
Do you think President Trump is a fascist?
Yes.
Why is President Trump a fascist?
Sunday with Michael Portillo from 11, only on GB News.
You've been to see Glengarry Glen Ross.
I have. So the movie was 92 and the play was 84, 85, something like David Mamet. It's all about men, or it's about men that are posturing being men. It's this idea of sort of toxic strutting, peacocking. However, the outrage, this most male of plays, has been cast with all women. Horrific. Taking away men's jobs right in front of us, Michael. It's on at the Old Vic, and we've got a cast of the ladies having a little word about it.
I think it might explode the play and open it up in really amazing ways, but we just don't know, and that is thrilling.
On first glance, you look at Glengarry and you think male, masculine world, male toxicity, but then if you strip that away and look at it from another lens, you say, no, this is about humans.
GB News, the People's Channel. Sunday with Michael Portillo from 11, only on GB News.
Joining me now is Chef Julie Walsh, who's the head of patisserie at Le Cordon Bleu.
Thank you.
How lovely to see you. You look marvellous in your chef's hat and your chef's jacket. Tell me about Le Cordon Bleu.
Le Cordon Bleu has been in operation for over 130 years. We had our 130-year anniversary last year. I'm from the campus in London, in Holborn, and we have a very wide-ranging curriculum with our students. I teach patisserie, so for me, I teach students to learn about things such as bakery, cakes, entremets, such as this one here, and showpieces. We do chocolate and sugar sculptures as well.
GB News, the People's Channel. This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
3 lines on my shirt, never stop me dreaming.
Could this be England's biggest superfan? Benny Elcock has covered his York home in St George's Flags in support of England ahead of the World Cup. 3 Lions memorabilia are draped across his windows, garden gates and flower pots. Even the family's Yorkshire Terrier Reggie has his own outfit.
Been doing it for years. And always stick me Everton one up, because I'm a massive Everton fan. People just think I'm mad. Say, well, you've gone a bit mad, you've gone a bit overboard. I said, I don't care. I love it.
Football mad Benny can't wait for England's first match.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Welcome back to the Saturday 5. Coming up from 8 p.m, it'll be the Saturday Scrap. We'll find out what it is that you voted for us to debate. Now, though, it's time for this week's Triggered Tantrums. Emma, what have you got?
Well, you know, for years on this show, I think I've segued into these by saying, oh, we live in a clown world. Well, we literally do.
Do you think President Trump is a fascist?
Yes.
Why is President Trump a fascist?
I'm not sure how to answer.
Well, what is fascism?
I'm also not sure, but I know that man isn't worth the time.
Do you think President Trump is a fascist?
Yes.
How is President Trump a fascist?
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to work.
I know I've nailed the choice when I can hear Will next to me giggling away. I'm sure Pablo agrees.
Well, Emma, what you don't know is that actually under that clown makeup, it was indeed Pablo.
They don't let me back in America anymore. Not even dressed like that.
It is fascinating now how the word fascist has just become a byword for people we don't like.
Yes.
They don't know what it means. They don't put it in any sort of historical context. There is no world in which Donald Trump is a fascist by the dictionary definition of the word. It's just a way for them to try and stifle debate, to bully people and to display their naivety.
Well, speaking of stifling debate, the Labour Party aren't too fond of it because Lisa Nandy has announced that she and her department, DCMS, the Department of Culture, Media and Sport, will be leaving Elon Musk's X platform, formerly Twitter. And where did she make this lofty announcement? Well, it was indeed on the people's platform of X. She said, "A platform originally designed for free speech and expression now favours abuse and misinformation over meaningful debate, and that is not healthy for our democracy." Well, she fails to actually point out and recognise, my friends, that X, compared to the likes of Reddit, compared to the likes of Blue Sky, has politics across the piece. You will find all kinds of voters across, and actually the more representation of the right actually being able to have a platform for one on X than you would other platforms. And Emma, I will tell you this right now for free. The amount of abuse that I get, and I include people saying I want to do you in, and I don't mean in a nice way, on that platform comes from the likes of Facebook. Yeah. It's not X. People saying I want you to die and all that other stuff. That if you want to leave social media, she ought to leave all social media. This is an affront, an attack on Elon Musk. This isn't about debate. She doesn't like the criticism that she now gets because right-wing people are allowed to have a platform.
I think there's a lot to be said for all social media platforms needing more accountability. I mean, I don't know that attacking Elon Musk is really...
I think that's what it is.
I mean, well, I don't know. That was a bit of a stretch. But, I mean, there is no doubt that the algorithm on Twitter is geared towards the right and it is geared towards dividing people. I mean, you've seen that time after time after time.
Do you know, Emma, I remember
when there have been protests, when there have been things going on the ground, they've been very good at feeding that.
Right.
Not the only one.
I remember when Twitter would have banned you if you had tweeted right now saying that a man cannot be a woman.
Absolutely.
Banned your account.
And do you remember when people were celebrating the murder of Charlie Kirk on Blue Sky?
Oh, yeah.
So it is about Elon Musk. It is about the fact that people were previously censored on the platform and no longer are. There are some of us who think that it's a price worth paying to have a bit more sort of detritus online in order to be able to say what we really think. And the reality is Twitter has become the public square. And for her to leave, and not only her, but her department...
And she turns off the comments, by the way.
Yeah, of course she did.
Willie, you want to talk about celebrating the fact that we are indeed the gayest parliament, apparently.
Not my words, Keir Starmer's words. Let's have a look at what I thought was a slightly unusual way to talk about this parliament. But here is, soon-to-be former Prime Minister Keir Starmer.
Really proud that we've got the gayest parliament. I don't think just of all time anywhere in the world, I don't think there's any parliament that is gayer than this parliament.
It's even funnier when you think of the word gayest as a pejorative, which a lot of kids do. Look, an odd thing to say, but also we don't have time for this nonsense anymore. I don't care if you're gay, I don't care if you're straight, I don't care if you're a man or a woman. When you've got such little talent already, just get the best people in. Enough of this DEI nonsense. We can't afford it anymore, Darren.
I mean, I think it just shows how desperate he is actually for some kind of legacy, isn't it?
Yeah.
To say, look, I've had the gayest parliament, so I can die happy now. I mean, goodness gracious me. Anyway, right, don't go anywhere, my friends, because coming up, it's the Saturday 5 Extra. We're going to let our hair down. Anything can happen. Emma's got a bottle of Prosecco under this desk. What could possibly go wrong? So get ready. We'll be back after this.
Today, clouds overhead. Total zen within. Boxed Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good evening and welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. It's still going to be a bit of a northwest split over the UK for the next couple of days, but as we go in towards Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, temperatures are going to turn a bit hotter in a few places. Now it's all down to this high pressure system we've got out towards the southwest, and we still have these wavy frontal systems across the north as well, but we do have a little bit of a ridge of high pressure building here. So although it was wet through the afternoon across western Scotland, it is turning a lot more patchier, especially across northern England as we go through the overnight period. Across the south, we do have some clearer skies, but another mild night to come. Temperatures around those mid-teens, so it will be a pretty mild start to a Sunday morning. And as we head through the second half of the weekend, it is going to be very similar to Saturday. We've still got some rain out towards the west, a little bit drier over towards the east. Orkney and Shetland seeing the best of the brightness first thing. Northern Ireland does see some showery rain across the north, and northern England may just be a little bit wetter than what they saw over the last couple of days. Some patchy cloud across the Midlands, but again, South Wales, southern England getting the best of the brightness for the start of Sunday. As we go through the day, this rain will slowly start to drift its way eastwards by the late morning and into the early afternoon. So it is turning increasingly wet once again across western Scotland. But this cloud across the Midlands and Wales, it will lift, it will start to break, and we will start to see some sunnier skies. So in that sunshine, it is going to feel like a pretty warm to even hot day. Highs of around 29 degrees in the far southeast. Now, to start the new week, again, it is a very similar day to come. Brightness across the south. It may turn a little bit brighter across northern England by the afternoon. A lot of rain across the north as well. But over the next couple of days, still got that cloud in the north and sunshine in the south. But as we go through Monday, Tuesday, those temperatures into the 30s.
Today, clouds overhead. Total zen within. Box Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
We're celebrating a golden summer with your chance to win a real gold bar. That's right, a fine gold bullion bar worth over £5,000 could be yours. We're also going to make sure your finances are fabulous with £60,000 in tax-free cash. For a chance to win, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pulled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome to Free Speech Nation with me, Josh Howard. This is the show where each week we see what's happening in the world of culture, current affairs and politics.
First we'll say, welcome to the UK. Oh, thank you.
And we're not afraid to use our free speech so that you can use yours.
It's not controversial in the slightest to anyone who hasn't lost their mind.
Free Speech Nation, Sunday nights at 7 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
I've been in Westminster for a long time, but I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
It's Saturday night and this is the Saturday 5 Extra, the UK's biggest Saturday night TV show. Do you know, every time I say it's Saturday night, my head goes, Saturday night, all the time. Anyway, right, so one of you have just commented actually saying there's something in my glass tonight, but there isn't, I promise you. Well, it's a latte. I'm Darren Grimes, anyway, along with Will Kingston, Emma Trimble, Trey Lowe and Pablo Ohana. Tonight on the show...
Ben Stokes has retired, and as an Aussie, I'm happy to see the back of him.
Why this seal is causing havoc.
Oh, and reasons to celebrate. The pubs are open till 5 a.m.
And my faith in humanity has been restored. The North-South divide is alive and well.
It's 8 p.m. and this is the Saturday 5 Extra. Welcome to the Saturday 5 Extra. Thank you so much for all of your comments on gbnews.com/your say. Jack has commented, a very nice comment, at least I thought it was until I read down a little bit too far. Jack says, Darren, you are bang on form and make this programme, keep everything moving along and entertaining. Top job. And I thought, wow, Jack, thank you so much. That's so kind. But Jack goes on to say, the makeup person must no longer be holding a grudge against you.
Is that because you're doing it yourself?
Yes, I'm doing it myself. They give me no budget. I even make my own coffee.
But it did sometimes fluctuate from Trumpian to more, you know, to very pale. But I think you've got the balance about right.
I'll tell you why that is, Will. It's because all of the comments used to say, Darren, are you unwell? They used to, like I've been hospitalised. And Dross says, I would love to see a Saturday 5 in which all of them are knocking back mugs of scotch and turning into mean old drunks. So, I'm not sure that would be Ofcom compliant, to be honest.
A mug? I don't think it would even make it through alive.
Well, Darren, if we're still on air in 30 years' time and doing this show, I'm pretty sure that is what it will just end up becoming.
Well, I tell you, GB News will go on and on and on, Britain's #1 news channel. But of course, my friends, keep your views coming in. Send them gbnews.com/your say. Please be kind. And before we start tearing each other apart, my friends, it's your Saturday night news with Tatiana Sanchez.
Darren, thank you. The top stories at 8 o'clock. The Duchess of Sussex and her 2 children won't be travelling to London with Prince Harry next week. It's understood no decision's been made on whether they will join Harry for the rest of his trip to the UK. He's expected to attend a series of engagements linked to the Invictus Games and his charity. It's reported this decision comes after his family were denied taxpayer-funded police protection. England captain Harry Kane says obviously it's good news that the pubs are staying open for the fans. Pubs across the UK will be allowed to stay open until 5 a.m. on Monday morning. England's World Cup knockout match against Mexico kicks off at 1 a.m. despite proposals to bring the game forward. More than 100 riot police in bulletproof vests are currently guarding the hotel where England is staying after the team received a hostile reception as they arrived for their last 16 clash. The King has hailed the UK's relationship founded on friendship with the US on the 250th anniversary of independence. He called the occasion a truly historic milestone and a moment of great celebration for Americans everywhere. Meanwhile, US Vice President J.D. Vance says Britain is such a beautiful country, adding it has the most amazing people in the world, but this amazing country, he says, has been failed by its leadership for a long time. President Trump earlier called on Americans to defend the country's founding values. Speaking at Mount Rushmore, he warned of what he described as a growing communist threat, saying some progressive Democrats hold ideas that oppose the American way of life. Mr. Vance, meanwhile, hailed the US ahead of the United States.
Our history is one of people carving a great civilization out of the wilderness. Reject the view of your nation that sees only its sins, but not its grace and its greatness. Everything that we have done as a country, we have done together. Not as citizens divided against each other, but as a common people working towards a common future.
In his first interview since resigning as Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer has defended his legacy, saying he saved the Labour Party. After just 2 years at number 10, Sir Keir Starmer said his likely successor, Andy Burnham, would have to spend just as much time on foreign diplomacy as he did. Speaking to the BBC, he also opened up about what he called the intensely personal decision to step down from the job.
When Vic and I were away with the kids, we went to Chequers and just spent 2 days together as a family. And that's when I came to my final decision. And it wasn't that I didn't want other advice at that stage. I'd had plenty of conversations. But when you are taking the decision to step down from the role as Prime Minister, taking the decision that your political career is over, it is an intensely personal matter, or at least it was for me.
Those are the latest GB News headlines. For now, more in an hour.
Take the GB News family with you on any device. As long as you have an internet connection, tune into GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond.
Welcome to the Saturday 5 Extra. I tell you what, one thing I won't miss is in the news items having to listen to what sounds like Zippy with someone's hand up the bottom there talking and, oh, I tell you, it was deeply personal to me. And you just think, what on God's earth is that?
I agree with that, but also, who does this bloke think he's kidding? Does he think we're all stupid? We all know he's been booted out by his own party. As if, oh, well, I had to think about it, and in the end I decided it was a personal decision to go. It's like, mate, you've been booted out by the Labour Party.
Yeah.
You're not fooling anyone.
All right, I'm going to get to your views because just to prove I don't just read out comments that are nice about me. One of our viewers says, Emma is too good for this something panel. 4 blokes blowing smoke up their own something. I'll let you fill in the blanks.
Well, he's not wrong.
And Sir Dastardly Trump says, Darren, aren't Reform the party most likely to be voted for by gay men? I'm sure I've read that somewhere. There was a poll that said that, actually. There was. And I think it's because they worry about what the change in this country means for their rights. And you don't hear about that, do you? Neil says, Darren, I can't afford to stay in the pub until 5 a.m. boozing. Rachel Reeves charges me too much tax on a pint of beer. Well, to be honest with you, Neil, if you're in there till 5 a.m, you might see Rachel Reeves in there spending a last paycheck. But never mind. All right, we'll move on now. Please continue sending in your views and posting your comments at gbnews.com/your say. Now, though, it's time for tonight's main event. Ding, ding, ding. Yes, indeedy, it's the Saturday Scrap. We're asking, is Pride still necessary as voted by you? Thousands of people have lined the streets of London today as the 2026 Pride Parade made its way through the capital, with marchers celebrating LGBTQ plus alphabet soup communities calling for equality. I can't say that with a straight face, ironically. But is the event still necessary? Well, Emma and Pablo are going to go head-to-head on this, and Pablo is going to take it away. Seconds out, it's round 1. Ding, ding, ding. Pablo, there you are, in the blue corner.
So back towards the end of the World War II, there was a man named Alan Turing, and he's estimated to have shortened our war by about 4 years and saved up to 25 million lives. He ended up being criminally convicted for being gay. He killed himself because of the persecution that he faced. This man, if you were to look up in a dictionary, what is a hero? That is it. That is a man who shortened our war, saved British lives, saved lives all across the world. He was criminally convicted for being gay. That is why Pride still matters. My friends watching are going to be very surprised to hear me defending Pride. I've personally never been, but it is important that people feel seen, that we can celebrate the diversity and the achievements of all types of people across this country, and that is why Pride has to stay.
Well, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because I think, Darren, you mentioned there the alphabet soup, and one of the sort of staples of the progressive argument is this idea of intersectionality, that all of the different identities are sort of in solidarity solidarity with one another. But what we've actually seen in recent years is that the T part of the LGBT has been prioritised, and that's why you've seen groups like the LGB Alliance who have been pushing back actually against the fact that the T undermines the rights of the LGB. And so if this is about, as you mentioned, Alan Turing there, and it's about, you know, making sure that, you know, gay people have the right to be gay people. I think a lot of the rhetoric around Pride and around the LGBT progressive movement in recent years has actually been to the detriment of the rights of those who, you know, want to love people of the same sex, and to not be told that because somebody identifies as a man and they fancy men, that they must fancy them.
I don't think anybody is saying that. There are people across this country who should just love the way they love. I don't see why we have to put labels on anything. Humans are just humans. We can all get along in this country and across the world. The whole LGBT argument and taking out the T and all this sort of stuff makes zero sense. People are just people. They can love who they can love, and that is it. It doesn't matter whether you're black, white, gay, straight. Doesn't matter. Who cares?
Pablo, you say that we shouldn't be putting labels on people, and yet we've literally got thousands of people marching down the street because of a particular label. The whole point of the day is because of the labels.
But that label has been put onto them. People don't decide.
Pretty happy to be
I didn't decide. Listen, I can tell you, I did not decide to be gay, and I would not have chosen to be. It destroyed my childhood. I had a terrible time growing up, and it is useful for some people to look and see the support and say, okay, actually, whatever time happened to me in school, that is not the broader view of this country. That's why these things matter.
All right, let me come back on that then, because I had a similar experience as a child. And I would say that actually I do not look at the people who walk down the street on a pride parade, who stand up and say that people like my mother, for example, who have had, let's just say, some experiences with some men that I would not want them to encounter ever again. Now, to turn around to people like that and say, as has been argued, that women don't have a right to single-sex spaces such as refuges, that actually men biological men ought to be able to access those spaces, that to me is not something I ever want to associate myself with. But I have been to Pride before. I have, many years ago, not in recent years, not even in the last 5 years, not probably in the last 10 actually, but I have been in the past. And it's because on issues like pension rights and on issues like being able, when your other half dies, to have the same rights and same boring responsibilities that a straight person would have when they fall in love with someone, as Emma will have when, God forbid, your partner, I nearly said his name there, or your partner ever goes, that you will have the rights to inherit from him. Now, that wasn't the case, actually, before what was then deemed equal marriage. I think, actually, I agree with the likes of Grumpy Grandad, who says that Pride was great until it got hijacked. It no longer stands for the same thing anymore. And I put it to you, Pablo, that that's because we secured same-sex marriage and we had all the same rights. We're allowed to be just as boring as straight people like Trey. And that's no slight to Trey. I'm sure you're very fun in a club. Ultimately, what's happened is they've said the grift of the movement has said, well, we used to do actually very well out of charities, charitable donations and the state. And now what we need, now that that final frontier has been breached, what we need is to find a new minority to actually champion, and trans was the golden goose.
And the problem with that is, and it goes to the heart of it, is that you can't have the right to be gay unless you have sex-based rights. And if the movement starts to undermine sex-based rights,
I just want to come back to one point there, which is you said that we secured same-sex marriage. I was working in the government that delivered same-sex marriage. We had to drag politicians kicking and screaming to pass that legislation. And it was because of movements. It is movements driven by individual people who stand up and say, actually, hold on, this isn't right. This doesn't feel right to me. And there is always going to be a conversation. There's always going to be opposing views. There's always going to be people who think, hold on, I don't want to advance that right because that's taking away rights from me. But the idea that we just woke up one day and was like, oh, same-sex marriage would be nice. No, but what I'm saying is that we have to fight for these rights. These are not things that you just kind of inherit. That is the problem. And so you have to fight for each right. And it may be the case that on this panel we are not all going to agree on different people's rights, but that does not mean that they shouldn't be highlighted and they shouldn't be debated.
Sure, fair point. You know, you should be fighting for rights. What further rights should gay people get?
I'm not necessarily saying that there are any rights that we don't have, although there is definitely disparity in a number of things, including in healthcare. But I will just say that there are other issues and there are other movements that still need to be highlighted. So Pride is about saying, listen, I'm only 32. When I went to high school, I was hospitalised on my first day because I was gay or because they suspected I was gay. That's within my lifetime. So all I'm saying is that it would be nice for the people younger than me to grow up and go, oh, wow, there's like quite a lot of support here. Like, I don't need to be ashamed of this. It destroyed my childhood.
Oh, please, Pablo.
So all I'm saying is that it isn't always about saying we need more, we need more, we need more. It's about other people being able to look up and say, it's OK to be who I am.
I'm not having any of this. You turn on the telly these days and you cannot move 2 seconds without seeing a gay person on telly. The idea that kids are growing up today wondering, oh, God, do gay people exist? Is there any...
No, it's not about whether they exist. It is about the reality of seeing...
They see it. There are no negative actual presentations of gay people on television these days. Everyone that's gay is absolutely marvellous and fantastic, which isn't the case. I think you'll find that I get accused of being a self-hating gay quite often by the people on the so-called tolerant left. And also, Pablo, the second point I would make is that it is exactly everything that you have been talking about on this show today, right, over the last 2 hours of the pleasure of your company, in which you have been saying that actually it is fantastic that Britain is a diverse and multicultural society. You champion, you welcome, you bestow the gifts of generosity upon the very people coming here over recent years who would like nothing more than for your rights to be taken away.
Listen, just quickly to that point, Richard on gbnews.com/yoursay has said, did the Pride March go through Tower Hamlets, which I think is getting to the nub of that.
That is simply not true. The vast majority of this country, the vast majority of this country are decent, tolerant, welcoming people who love all types of people. It is not the case that there are people coming over to this country and want to strip away my rights. And that won't happen because we are the United Kingdom, where things like equal marriage, same-sex marriage, things like that are in our law. They are not going to be taken away.
Here's a challenge. I put it to you. Organise a Pride March in Tower Hamlets.
Yeah, but guys, doesn't this prove...
I don't know. Would you do that, Pablo?
Well, I mean, no, I have never... I've been to Pride once, and it was because my favourite singer was performing. It's not something that I actively participate in, but I think those types... those types of events, things like Pride, things like Black History Month, they matter because they highlight the best people in our country, and you get to explore all different types of people.
Let me put it to you differently. Do you think, if you remember, they were going to have a Christian procession, I think it was organised by UKIP or something, but they were going to have a Christian procession in Tower Hamlets. The police stopped it from happening because they said it would be too provocative to the community. Do you think if you tried to organise a Pride March in Tower Hamlets that the police would allow it to go ahead and that there would be no incident or anything like that? Or do you think it would be banned and not allowed to go ahead in that area because the police would say it was too provocative for the community living there?
But, I mean, you're arguing here
This is just to Darren's point.
You're arguing here that, there aren't some people in this country that have, homophobic views, racist views, or whatever it is.
You just did.
No, of course there are people with those views, but there are also the vast majority of people are not like that. Yes, do we have pockets of problems in this country? Yes, of course we do. Every single country does.
It's very difficult.
So we just have to go to like an area where we just say, sorry, like you can't enter this area because you're gay. Like
I think that's even more reason to have pride.
words. I look at pride more in terms of exactly what it is, just people being proud of who they are. In some ways, it has similarities in some ways with the origin of even the Notting Hill Carnival. These are marginalised group historically that just want to affirm their identity. And there are some bits of the LGBT community that I don't think are that expected. Like, for instance, lesbian women are there as accepted in society as men are. So there's still that work to do. They still suffer with misogyny and this sort of lack of acceptance. I think it's good because it makes someone like me look at some of the issues in the LGBT community and actually have an interest, actually care about it, and actually it helps embed the acceptance of this. I think it's very important. Long may it continue.
You also get clear. Are you honestly trying to tell me that you look at pride and then you stop and you reflect and you think about gay issues? And
I do. Honestly, I do. I just told you guys about when I was in West Hollywood for the first time and I noticed these flags. It's very ignorant of me. I didn't even know these flags exist. This was about 15 years ago. I learnt about it. I talked about it. I talked with gay men. What does it mean to them? I learnt about it. I wouldn't have known had they not celebrated their culture.
OK, coming up at Culture, for God's sake. Coming up after the break.
No, I can't.
You can go around.
I can't.
You can, you've got legs.
I'm 80.
Well, Trey's going to tell us why there's a happy ending to that awful viral clip.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Bowl. They are under no illusion.
Ray.
Are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get this on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines. The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it? From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos. I'm going to do now, they are throwing things out the car as we speak. Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome to Free Speech Nation with me, Josh Howard. This is the show where each week we see what's happening in the world of culture, current affairs and politics.
First we'll say, welcome to the UK.
And we're not afraid to use our free speech so that you can use yours.
It's not controversial in the slightest to anyone who hasn't lost their mind.
Free Speech Nation, Sunday nights at 7 p.m, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun. No, he didn't say that, Dave. I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Breaking news, live updates, stories that matter.
From the heart of the GB newsroom to every corner of Britain, with our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
GB News bulletins are there to deliver the latest news that matters to you.
Bulletins on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to the Saturday 5 Extra. Right, it's time now for this week's High Fives. Trey, you're going to start us off.
Yeah, so I mean, all of us know about the story of the young man that refused to get out of the way for the elderly woman. And, you know, why it's my high five this week, everyone knows, you know, I look after my elderly parents and, you know, I'm from a culture where older people are revered, absolutely, without any question. And it just broke my heart, Sarah, because I thought, are there young people out there who kind of want to get some sort of social clout out of it? And to actually read that this week he had to delete his TikTok. And by the way, I'm not asking you guys to pile on this poor guy. I'm sure he learned the error of his ways. But the fact that he was roundly condemned from every section of society, old, young, black, white, everyone said to him, what you did was wrong. That actually makes me feel good, because as a society, if we don't respect and show, you know, real regard for our elderly, what kind of society are we? So that's absolutely my high five of this week, you know, the fact that everyone universally has completely condemned his actions.
Let's take a look at it.
What did you say?
I want you to help me stay.
Can you not touch me, please?
Can you move, please?
Can you not? I'm recording you. Don't touch me.
Fine, that's fine.
I'm here relaxing.
Can you move?
You can go around.
I can't.
You can. You got legs.
I'm 80.
Okay. So? I'm recording you.
I don't give a damn what you're doing. You're extremely rude and arrogant.
I'm recording.
You won't move so I can go.
Yeah, that makes my blood boil. You know, I often take my elderly dad to the GP, and I know what it's like when you're older. He can't even walk. I've got to hold onto him. When we get out of the Uber, I've got to hold onto him. At that kind of age, you genuinely are vulnerable, you know, and it says a lot about this country, the fact that everyone universally condemned him.
I do find it quite shocking, though, all those people who walk by and never, like, pulled the toe rag up on his behaviour. Just awful.
Yeah, London. Great. OK, Will.
Yes, Darren. Well, August 25, 2019 will forever be burned in my memory. Started with about 4 or 5 mates at Wetherspoons in Leeds. We turned up to Headingley pretty steamed, and we were convinced that Australia were going to retain the Ashes that day, a fact that we made very clear to the rest of the crowd around us in no uncertain terms. And then what followed was one of the greatest sporting performances I have ever seen from Ben Stokes. And after our loutish behaviour when Stokes hit the winning runs, we had to walk from the top of the grandstand, shake the hands of every English bloke as we walked down to the bottom, and then very quickly bolted out of the stadium. Ben Stokes announced his retirement this week. I'm still not fully convinced. I think there is every chance he will come out of retirement, do the white knight thing and be there for the next Ashes. But if he doesn't, an extraordinary cricketer, an extraordinary captain of England, and continues the fine tradition of England producing these charismatic, trailblazing all-rounders who act as the talisman for English cricket. As an Australian, again, as someone who has put the boot into Australia on the cricket field on several occasions, I'm happy to see the back of him, but credit to the captain of the English cricket team on an extraordinary career.
Yeah, Stokesy, Will, actually, I called you Stokesy there, but Will, I think actually, one, we celebrate the fact that Stokesy plays for Durham, but also...
And we'll continue to play for Durham, by the way.
I hope so, I hope. And also, I think actually he will have inspired a generation of people who wouldn't have given a damn about cricket to, one, be interested as spectators, but also kids to get involved in it as well and see it as a sport. It's been for too long, I think, sort of dismissed because of the real... clamour to want to be footballers, and it's quite sad. This is something that's been around a very, very long time.
Yep. Yeah, and particularly Test cricket as well. In the again, I think baseball has its challenge, has its problems, but the way that he has tried to bring entertainment back to Test cricket in a time of 2020 should be admired. So no, full credit to him.
Yeah, you Australians are going to have to start sanding balls down again. Right, Emma. What
Too soon, Darren.
Yes.
Too soon.
Emma, what have you got?
There's a touch more levity to mine one. Let's take a look at Neil the seal.
So, Emma, these are images of a seal called Neil, I assume?
Yeah, that's great commentary, Darren.
His name is Neil. He's been wreaking havoc. I think it's in Australia. I've forgotten actually
yes,
where.
Yes, it says Australian officials ask fans to respect the privacy of Neil. A 2,200 pounds.
He's a very big boy, and he's been going about on land quite a lot, and ripping up bollards and laying his head on traffic cones and just basically doing anything except for being by the seaside.
I mean, to be honest with you, Emma, if I do stay up to watch England, I imagine that's what I'll look like by the time the game is finished on the streets of Durham. And anyway, what is this show's fascination with beavers and seals and?
Well, I felt an animal always goes down very well on High Five, and I was recently there was the monkey that that was being bullied, and everyone felt very sad for the monkey, and then he made a friend, and it was all very lovely. But these sorts of animal videos, people just love them. I mean, I've watched every single video of this giant seal, so I'm sure that our viewers at home who love all of the animals would enjoy Neil the seal.
But Australia's a bit hot for a seal to be floundering about on the streets, isn't it?
Maybe he's British.
There's a very well-known seal that basically is just below the Opera House and perches there most days. So, no, you definitely do find seals in Australia.
Got a good singing voice, has he?
Am I missing something there?
Anyway, make sure you tune in tonight, my friends.
Oh, that's your
to GB News, because from midnight we have a special programme live from Washington, D.C. We'll bring you President Donald J. Trump's landmark address to the nation, spectacular military flyovers, a star-studded set of performances, and all the celebrations as America marks its 250th birthday. Our America 250 special begins at midnight and continues through into GB News breakfast. Now, coming up on the Saturday 5 Extra, why the North-South divide is well and truly alive. This is GB News, We're Britain's news channel.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
A lot of fine weather at the moment throughout Europe, especially through the Mediterranean, where it's going to be hot in Portugal during the next few days, and less wet for Greece compared with the last few days. Showers on Sunday tending to ease, but there will still be the odd shower or thunderstorm. Italy, widespread sunny skies, the breeze here easing after a blustery few days. But look at Lisbon, 39 Celsius. That's unusually hot for the time of year, and it continues into next week.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Good evening and welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. It's still going to be a bit of a northwest split over the UK for the next couple of days, but as we go in towards Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, temperatures are going to turn a bit hotter in a few places. Now it's all down to this high pressure system we've got out towards the southwest, and we still have these wavy frontal systems across the north as well, but we do have a little bit of a ridge of high pressure building here. So although it was wet through the afternoon across western Scotland, it is turning a lot more patchier, especially across northern England as we go through the overnight period. Across the south, we do have some clearer skies, but another mild night to come. Temperatures around those mid-teens, so it will be a pretty mild start to a Sunday morning. And as we head through the second half of the weekend, it is going to be very similar to Saturday. We've still got some rain out towards the west, a little bit drier over towards the east. Orkney and Shetland seeing the best of the brightness first thing. Northern Ireland does see some showery rain across the north, and northern England may just be a little bit wetter than what they saw over the last couple of days. Some patchy cloud across the Midlands, but again, South Wales, southern England getting the best of the brightness for the start of Sunday. As we go through the day, this rain will slowly start to drift its way eastwards by the late morning and into the early afternoon. So it is turning increasingly wet once again across western Scotland. But this cloud across the Midlands and Wales, it will lift, it will start to break, and we will start to see some sunnier skies. So in that sunshine, it is going to feel like a pretty warm to even hot day. Highs of around 29 degrees in the far southeast. Now to start the new week, again, it is a very similar day to come. Brightness across the south. It may turn a little bit brighter across northern England by the afternoon. A lot of rain across the north as well. But over the next couple of days, still got that cloud in the north and sunshine in the south. But as we go through Monday, Tuesday, those temperatures into the 30s.
From cold mornings
to warm family brunches.
From football to tennis in the car.
In the kitchen.
GB News Breakfast is there. With the stories you need and the conversations that matter.
Anyway, let's talk business.
Well, it has been a historic night in British politics.
It's astonishing, isn't it?
We're here again.
To start your day just right. GB News Breakfast.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes and Kerr weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. You're watching the Saturday 5 Extra. Now, the North-South divide, my friends. He's laughing at me. The North-South divide is alive and well because, according to the I paper, under Prime Minister Andy Burnham, should he become Prime Minister, that is, I'm not Mystic Meg, but I assume he will, homes in the South face bills 3 times higher than those in the South. Sorry, that's homes in the North homes in the South will face bills higher than those in the North. They got that wrong there. I'm correcting them. There'll be sackings here. The newspaper reports that MPs are urging him to introduce a wealth tax, with households in the North paying less than those in the southeastern London. I'm a County Durham resident, and let me tell you, that ain't the case right now. Well, joining me to discuss this is the Director of Popular Conservatism UK, Mark Littlewood. But Mark, listen, with your economics hat on, and someone that probably believes, I assume, Mark, I don't wish to put words in your mouth, that relying on the rates that were set back in the 1990s is not a good idea, do you find this a laudable idea?
Look, devil in the detail, Darren. Devil in the detail. We don't know Andy Burnham's manifesto yet, so we've just got to keep our ear to the ground and rely on reports in various newspapers. All we've heard of him so far is, hi, I'm Andy, and I like wearing a black T-shirt. So he hasn't really got a policy platform yet. But if this is to be believed, let me spell out what the plan reported in the press is. It's that every household would every year have to pay over 1%, not of the property value, but of the land value that house is on. So you can improve your house, you can add an extension, you can put in a new kitchen, you can add in double glazing, whatever it might be that improves the value of your house won't make a difference. It's the value of the land it's on. And that is hugely more expensive in the south, and especially in London. I think in a lot of areas of London, if you look at your property price, about 2/3 of it is nothing to do with the building. It's just the land you're on, is because it's so desirable to be in London. If you were to take my 2-bedroom ex-council flat in Battersea, if you had an identical property, brick by brick, absolutely identical in, say, Rochdale or Hartlepool, it would be about 1/3 of the price. Now, what's unfair about this, I think, is, in my view, each local council should raise its money to pay for the local council services, refuse collection, filling in potholes, keeping the library open, whatever it might be. But you shouldn't necessarily impose a land value tax at 1% across the board, dictated by Andy Burnham. A 1% land value tax in Mayfair will raise you enough money that you'll be able to have refuse collections about every 10 minutes, whereas a 1% land value tax in, say, a Blackpool or a Rotherham might not get you enough cash. So I don't mind so much if we move the tax base away from property, and the value of your property, as you rightly say, Darren, that was set in 1990, so it's wildly out of date. But I don't mind if we move away from the property valuation to the land valuation, but it shouldn't be a straight 1% across the board. A 0.1% land value tax in Mayfair will raise you as much as a 3% land value tax in Blackpool.
So if Andy comes along and he flutters those big long eyelashes at you, Mark, and says, look, Mark, I like the cut of your jib, I'm going to make you head of my economics policy, what would you actually be saying he should do instead as a more, what is being argued as a more equitable way of raising revenue?
Well, I think you could go down this pathway as long as it isn't set at 1% by the national government. So, Darren, you and your fellow councillors in Durham, you could set the percentage. Are you going to set it at 0.3%, 1%, 1.2%? You decide. You set the percentage just in the same way at the moment councils can set their council tax within bounds.
Yeah.
So local councils would decide the number. If we were to go down that pathway, you wouldn't get the north-south divide you're talking of. The percentage you'd have to charge in areas like Blackpool or Rotherham, possibly not so much County Durham where property prices are high. The percentage you charge would be higher, but the cash value wouldn't, because, as I say, a 3% land value tax in Blackpool would raise about the same as a 0.1% one in Mayfair. So the bit of this that is pretty grim is if the national government says it's got to be 1% in every single part of the land, it's going to be grossly unfair. That's the economics of it. Worth just pointing out the politics of it. The seat I'm in Battersea in southwest London, heavily voted for Labour at the last election. They won the seat very comfortably. It was nowhere near the Labour manifesto that they were going to bring in a new tax system, which for people in my area is likely to see their local tax bill going up more than 400%. That was not in the Labour manifesto. If Andy Burnham wants to depart enormously from the Labour manifesto of 2024, and it looks like he does want to depart from it enormously, well, he needs a fresh mandate, doesn't he? This was nowhere near on the agenda in July 2024, and the further he departs from that, I think the greater calls for a fresh general election will arise, and quite rightly so.
Mark, I'm interested, you mentioned the politics, and I'm interested in the politics of the Burnham strategy more generally. He's basically saying, look, I'm heading south to get the fair share for the north. You know, this is now his answer to my dad was a toolmaker. I'm from Manchester. I was literally just looking at Twitter just then. He was saying we need to take rugby league more seriously as a country. He is bashing us over the head with the whole I'm from the north, I believe in the people of the north shtick. Do you think that this will be a politically successful strategy for him in the long term?
Almost certainly not, because the economics of it won't work. One way or another, gorgeous eyelashes or not, the Burnham strategy amounts to we are going to try and soak more and more out of the successful private sector side of the economy and allocate it to government spending, because we believe that politicians and bureaucrats know better how to invest money than ordinary men, women and businesses. That's basically the philosophy behind all of the planning and all of the thinking. So this would be a colossal redistribution of money. And there is nothing in the Burnham agenda at all at the moment which has got any sort of half an eye even on getting public spending under control. We are running colossal deficits, have been for a quarter of a century. Still, the thing they want to reach for is, can we find yet another tax to dial up? If you want to know why growth is on the floor, it's because we keep pulling that higher tax lever. So I think the politics of it will not obviously benefit the north, but it will infuriate people in the south, and particularly in London, still considered to be a Labour heartland, where homeowners will be fleeced if this new land value tax comes in exactly the terms in which it is being presently advertised in the media.
Mark, on that point, I wanted to ask you, what you think the social consequences will be of this kind of phony Robin Hood policy, stealing from the, quote, rich and giving to the poor, as you say, redistributing wealth from the south to the north. Will that create more of a politics of resentment? Do you think that people in the south, perhaps if they had voted Labour before, might be more likely to vote Greens, or do you think it would, towards the next general election, drive people more towards reform? Is this going to be disastrous for the middle and working classes who are living in slightly more affluent parts of the country, but as a result are actually struggling more to get on in life?
Yeah. Well, Emma, as you know, the oldest rule in politics is if you rob Peter to pay Paul, you can be pretty sure of Paul's vote. So I guess that's what Andy Burnham is thinking here. I'm going to rob Peter, i.e., you know, property owners in the south, to pay Paul, i.e., people who have lower value properties in the north. I'll shore up my vote in the north. But you're quite right, resentment kicks in. And if we're actually looking at local government, because this is about local government financing, then it's about local government financing. I think we need to localise that an awful lot more. I don't want the Prime Minister deciding the rates. I want democratically elected councils deciding the rates, and you can decide. Do you want the amount you're paying to go up, maybe in return for more potholes being filled in, faster refuse collection, or do you want it to go down and maybe not have quite such good services? I want that decision localised, not made by some central planning committee run by Andy Burnham, whether that central planning committee is in number 10 Downing Street, London, or some new number 10 Downing Street in Manchester or Wigan. We have got to get power away from the Prime Minister and into the hands of local councils and local people when it comes to all of these local issues and how to finance them. And this goes in exactly the opposite direction.
Trey, I'm going to get your view after this break. We've got to go to a break, but that's Mark Littlewood there. Thank you very much for your insight on that. Mark. We'll see you, my friends, after this break.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
The completion of the challenge, the Princess of Wales was met by her family, including the Prince of Wales and her 3 children.
Lovely. All right, let's talk to former Royal Butler, Grant Harold. Grant, honestly, that little video there just seemed to say it all to me, because it was clearly all just off the cuff, not a prepared speech. She just came across as someone who really cares about what she does.
She does, and I mean, she's remarkable because, as you said, it was just suddenly announced last night that she'd done this. And not that I'm a huge expert in this, but it's quite a challenge. I actually know somebody that did it recently. I mean, I think you've got to walk about 23, 24 miles. You're climbing about up to, is it 9,000 feet? You're travelling over 500 miles. It's 3 highest peaks in the UK, Scotland, England and Wales. I mean, it's a remarkable achievement.
GB News, the People's Channel. This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
In his 23 years of service, Alan was deployed to a number of conflicts, including the Gulf War. He met his wife Tracy Ann when he returned to civilian life, and Alan is proud of his time in the forces.
The actual Gulf War, it was during this Scud missile sort of crisis, if you like, and I found that quite worrying because it was so random. If somebody points a rifle at you and intends to kill you, that's one thing. But these missiles were just fired into nowhere. One of the camps got hit. A lot of US servicemen got killed. And RAF regiment fellas went in to help. And the effects of war are clearly not nice. But if it was done for the right reasons, it had to be done.
GB News, the People's Channel. This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
No, Cameron, so it's the first monarch ever to do this, then, isn't it? What's your take on what we've seen in the data here?
Well, Patrick, for GB News audiences, I spent 5 hours in financial briefings with all of these documents, so you don't have to go through them all, and we've assimilated them with my producer, Tom, this afternoon and evening for you. As you said, Patrick, at the start of your piece there, I think a lot of our audience are probably going to be wondering why £370 million, roughly, of their money is being spent on resurfacing a building, Buckingham Palace, which no monarch is unlikely to ever live in ever again. The money that the king surrenders the profits of from the Crown Estates to the Treasury in exchange for a percentage to fund the official duties, that percentage for almost a decade has been much higher.
GB News, the People's Channel.
She scrubbed up well, hasn't she?
Welcome back. Right, now, Trey, I wanted to very quickly ask you, as someone that owns a nice house, I assume, I haven't been.
My parents do, in Notting Hill,
okay. Will you suffer as a consequence of Andy Burnham saying, well, listen, you southerner, I nearly said something else there. You southerner, you're going to have to pay more.
Yeah, I think so, because I think a lot of people in my area, like Notting Hill, I think a lot of people are asset rich through no fault of their own. Of course, I'm sure they're happy about it, but you only realise that asset once you've sold it. Where's the extra income going to come from to actually pay it? It feels it could be his sort of potax moment if he was to do that, because most middle-class families are completely cash-strapped.
And renters as well.
And renters as well, so I kind of don't know how it works. I think in principle I agree, you know, people paying their fair share, paying more if you're richer in the south, fair enough. But not in the way, if it's done in such a draconian way that everyone's poor. You know, London would quickly move away from Labour.
See, Burnham's already losing Trey.
Well,
it's happening already. He's not even got his feet.
Well, he's already lost me because I'm not going to be voting Labour, am I?
Try give the man a chance.
No, give him. I'm not a Labour voter, so it means no difference to me. But I just like the fact there's a bit of
in
competition.
better news, you've got better news for us.
So in better news, I've got a tantrum, and this is a young lady blaming the hot weather on immigrants. Let's take a look.
These immigrants coming over here, changing Britain, changing our country, changing our climate. Have you been outside today? Have you seen the weather? This isn't appropriate weather for the average Brit. All these melanated people coming over here, even our weather is adjusting to them. It's like frickin' Somalia or wherever they come from. This is the immigrant agenda, to make white people so unbearably uncomfortable in their own country that they get up and leave, so that immigrants can take it all for themselves.
So she is actually taking the mic.
No, she is. I like that. I actually follow this content creator. I actually think she's brilliant. She doesn't mean it, guys. It definitely is satire. But there is satire. But the thing that's funny is most people in the comments don't even realise that. That's how used to we've got to blaming migrants for absolutely everything that people actually think she's being serious. She's actually great.
In happier news, Pablo, you've got a story on the Titanic, and I'm assuming this is an attraction about not the Titanic, the ship, but the Labour Party.
or the Titanic success of Brexit. No, Titanic Belfast, my friends are going to absolutely die when they say this. Titanic Belfast welcomed its 10 millionth visitor, which, given the difficulty that Northern Ireland and Belfast has been through, both in the past and recently, I was delighted to see. I used to work there, and so it's a fantastic place. If you haven't been, go to Belfast, go to Northern Ireland. Belfast is the best city in the world. I absolutely love it. So go there, see everything they have.
OK, and next we have, I believe it's me, actually. I should know this, shouldn't I? Right, the pubs are open until 5 a.m. on Monday, well, through till Monday morning, which means that you can either watch... Will you be on, Will? Are you on then?
12 a.m. till 3 a.m.
12 a.m. till 3 a.m. Or you can do what I'm doing, which is...
Going to bed.
Should I admit that? Yeah, probably going to bed, to be honest. I was going to say having a pint, but I'd probably be asleep. I've got a lot on in my life, contrary to popular belief. And a man that has actually got a lot on, not just Harry Kane, but a man that's got a lot on. And by the way, you know, on Monday, I suspect we're going to do very well. I don't agree with Will on the heat being too much for them, because I reckon actually these hydration breaks might come in handy. They might actually do the job.
True.
But, my friends, the actual evidence is that Harry Kane is going to be mightily busy, but a man that won't be busy is indeed Alex Armstrong, who we're going to get to in just a second. But first of all, I have to say thank you, because we've just replaced Dr. Renee, and we have to thank Emma Trimble, who has been absolutely glorious. Hasn't she been glorious?
Yeah.
Pablo, I wish I could say the same about you. But
Pablo's been great.
I've taken my title as I say, the Z-list Kai replacement. That's fine by me.
You've been great.
It's a pretty good replacement.
Well, Trey's going to take you for a pint at Notting Hill.
Gets my vote, yeah.
That's fine.
And you'll be able to, no doubt, be elected as a Liberal Democrat candidate in the future.
Absolutely not. Listen, I've seen too much of that world.
No,
I know better than you to stand for election.
Take anyone, I'm sure you'll be fine.
Not true at all.
Hey, we had our best result in the last
people with the
election,
best integrity and the best intention for the community.
That's true.
That's what the Lib Dems is all about.
Drum and make yourself look silly on camera.
Yeah,
that's what
no.
it takes.
No, I can't do any.
I thought you were going to say,
Jealousy.
can you play like Harry Kane? I thought that's a bit of a tall order. Do you even know
Also
who
no.
Harry Kane is?
Can you bend it like Beckham? That's where my sort of football knowledge...
Well, because
No.
you've seen the film.
No, I actually haven't.
You don't know who Harry
The film's
Kane
actually
is?
pretty good.
No, I've heard people chanting his name, though.
But do you not even, like, look at the news?
I
I just switch off whenever it's mentioned.
I don't understand this. You're such an intelligent
I love that.
All right, OK. Now, the joke that I was trying to make there, but I made it a bit prematurely, story of my life, is that Harry Kane, not like that, Harry Kane is going to be very busy, but also a man that is going to be very busy tonight is indeed our lovely Alex Armstrong. See, I am capable of saying something nice. Let's have a listen.
Thanks very much, Darren. Lovely to see you as ever. Look, some serious stuff tonight, because I think the government are about to implement one of the most worrying policies for your freedom of speech, your freedom of expression, and, importantly, your freedom of thought. They want to turn you into sheep. What was going on with those Egyptian Palestine thugs on our streets, and so much more. See you in a tick.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good evening and welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. It's still going to be a bit of a northwest split over the UK for the next couple of days, but as we go in towards Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, temperatures are going to turn a bit hotter in a few places. Now, it's all down to this high pressure system we've got out towards the southwest, and we still have these wavy frontal systems across the north as well, but we do have a little bit of a ridge of high pressure building here. So although it was wet through the afternoon across western Scotland, it is turning a lot more patchier, especially across northern England as we go through the overnight period. Across the south, we do have some clearer skies, but another mild night to come. Temperatures around those mid-teens, so it will be a pretty mild start to a Sunday morning. And as we head through the second half of the weekend, it is going to be very similar to Saturday. We've still got some rain out towards the west, a little bit drier over towards the east. Orkney and Shetland seeing the best of the brightness first thing. Northern Ireland does see some showery rain across the north, and northern England may just be a little bit wetter than what they saw over the last couple of days. Some patchy cloud across the Midlands, but again, South Wales, southern England getting the best of the brightness for the start of Sunday. As we go through the day, this rain will slowly start to drift its way eastwards by the late morning and into the early afternoon. So it is turning increasingly wet once again across western Scotland. But this cloud across the Midlands and Wales, it will lift, it will start to break, and we will start to see some sunnier skies. So in that sunshine, it is going to feel like a pretty warm to even hot day. Highs of around 29 degrees in the far southeast. Now, to start the new week, again, it is a very similar day to come. Brightness across the south. It may turn a little bit brighter across northern England by the afternoon. A lot of rain across the north as well. But over the next couple of days, still got that cloud in the north and sunshine in the south. But as we go through Monday, Tuesday, those temperatures into the 30s.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.